Hello, everybody, and welcome here to this historic racetrack here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway here for the Universal Cup Series. Hello, my name is Christian Delgado, and in the booth with me tonight. Welcome back, Jeff Perchatsky. How you doing tonight, Jeff?
I'm doing great, Christian. It's great to be back up here in the booth in the tower watching these cars fly around the racetrack. Indianapolis, man, greatest speedway in the world, and we're going to see what these guys can put on a show for us tonight. I'm really excited.
And you said it to a T right there, Jeff. I mean, one of the most famous, one of the most historic, one of the most, you know, known and recognizable tracks that you're going to come to, and not only in the NASCAR scene, but in racing in general. You see the Indy 500 come here. You see NASCAR has came here for many years. You see IMSA come here for their 6 hour races and stuff like that. So such a historic venue here that these drivers are going to be racing at, and really a crown jewel for any racer to want to win at here.
Yeah, you said a great racetrack, extremely historic history in every type of discipline of racing, and a unique one too because every car drives different at this track. Obviously, we have the historic oval that they've been racing on for over 100 years with mainly open wheel cars. Then NASCAR comes along 30 years ago and says, "Hey, we want to put stock cars on this thing, ripping 200 miles per hour down those long straightaways," and this is a very big challenge compared to the tracks that these guys are used to. High banks, really quick. This is a very low banked, very narrow in the corners track, one groove, and it's gonna be really fun to watch these guys fight for that one groove and see if they can win this thing.
Exactly. You're going to see a lot of those drivers painting that white line throughout the racetrack here, as Jeff mentioned, one groove. And it's nice to see, in real life, they just came back to the oval. These last couple of years, they elected to go with the Indy road course, which also put on some exciting finishes. But I know a lot of fans, especially some of the older generations, are excited to see, the real life Cup Series come back to the oval here. And they do it like they did back in the day in the 90s and the 2000s, back in kind of the prime time era of NASCAR. Obviously, NASCAR, starting to get its numbers back up and starting to become more popular with the newer generation, with all the things that they've done with like the Garage 61 entry and with the new Netflix documentary that's coming out. So a lot of good things coming for the community and just for the fan base here in the NASCAR scene.
So Christian, what is it about this next gen car that's going to provide a really unique challenge for these guys at this historic racetrack? Because, like I said, we've been racing here for 30 years. We've seen early Gen 4 all the way through to the COTs and the Gen 6s here. Every type of horsepower, every type of aero package. What is it about the uniqueness of the next gen that's going to help these guys win or lose this race?
Well, I think with the next gen, everything is just so equal, and obviously on iRacing, it's kind of a given that everything's going to be equal. With fixed sets, you're not going to be coming like how it is in real life, where you're coming with a car with different funding and stuff. But how equal the car is here, it does really make the racing competitive here. You're going to see a lot that it's going to be about track position. You're going to see a lot of drivers race this kind of like almost like a super speedway where they're going to try to position themselves in a way to be in line down the straight here, because you're going to see a lot of the time that top will get a huge run down the straight, and if someone's out of line there trying to make a pass or something, they get bumped out of line there. You're gonna see those drivers make lose a lot of positions here just because of how aerodynamic and everything is here, about how long these straights are. You're just gonna see them line up on the wall there, especially when they're 2x2, and try to almost kind of draft away past some of these other drivers. So everything's gonna be super close. Here in the HVTV studios, we did cover a Brickyard 400, and we saw how exciting the racing was over there with the Crown Jewel Racing League. So I definitely think these guys have the talent. We have a lot of fast drivers in here with the likes of Michael Mitchum, Jacob Malone, Bobby Helms, Kendorian Davis, a lot of quick drivers here.
Yeah, you said it. We've had some incredible races, some incredible finishes at this very racetrack in the next gen car on High Velocity TV. We have a stacked field here today. We're really excited to see how these guys are going to race, how aggressive they're going to be early on. And you said it exactly right. I mean, that really goes to show the uniqueness of this racetrack. You have the straightaways of a super speedway with the corners of, say, a New Hampshire or a Milwaukee Mile type of track, Pocono type of track, where everybody's going to be going from 2, 3 wide, drafting in big packs and lines, all the way funneling down to one groove, dominant on the bottom. And it's going to be really interesting to see how these guys are going to make passes happen, what their strategies are going to be, because the pit road is going to be super, super valuable if these guys are going to want to gain track position without having to burn their stuff up or hope for a mistake on the track. And we just can't wait to see, because every single race we have here is put on one hell of a show.
Definitely, I definitely agree. Before qualifying goes underway, we do have some, last minute things to talk about here. And the Universal Cup Series, they do allow like substitute drivers, kind of like, I mean, obviously, like in real life, if a driver gets injured or something, they have to call another driver to go up there and step up and race that car for sponsorship purposes mostly. But we do have some sub-ins for tonight. So Michael Mitchum, right there in the 66, actually taking the road course here, is going to be subbing for Xander McKinney. Jacob Malone.
There's some extra warm-up laps there.
Exactly. Jacob Malone currently off the track, but he'll be subbing for Zachariah Cartledge. And Cameron Lopes right here is going to be subbing in for Christian Zarate in that number 15 machine. You see him getting the wall there. So a couple of substitute drivers for some of these other guys. Obviously, some of these drivers can't always make it here. So, it's nice. I think it's nice that the league gives, the drivers a chance to have someone come and sub in. We know Michael Mitchum, very talented driver, but we also have some penalty reports. So Kai Collymore, obviously, we weren't able to watch or broadcast last week's race at Richmond, but Kai Collymore on a 1-week suspension, so you won't be seeing that number 23 on the race here. Also an 8-race probation for him. Kyle Crane in the number 13 will get an EOL at the start of the race, and Kendorian Davis also an EOL at the start of tonight's race. So some substitutions, some suspensions, and some penalties coming here at Indy.
Yeah, I think that it is really great to have these guys, give a little bit of a freebie here. If they can't make every race, have a new driver that's trying to break into the league, or an extra talented driver in the case of Michael Mitchum. That would be, if we talk about keys to the race, he would be the X-Factor driver to watch here. You'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that's as talented in this next-gen car on the entire service as that 66 car, Michael Mitchum. So we are really excited to see what he can do, and what all these other guys that are pretty unproven, what they can do around the rest of the race tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you kind of put through a T. Michael Mitchum, very quick everywhere. I mean, I've raced with Michael quite a bit here off the broadcasting scene. 7,000 I rating. He calls himself one of the best in the business. So trying to go up through the Coke ladder, and obviously we know he has the talent to do that. But with practice underway, with practice done here, we're gonna get our qualifying underway here, Jeff.
Yeah, really excited to see these guys full send it down the front straightaway into turn one. See what these guys can do. Who can wrap the bottom the best? Can use the RPMs to their advantage. Here we go.
Like we have. Well, speaking of Michael Mitchum, let's go on and ride with him.
Let's watch the master at work.
Yeah, let's watch the master at work here. See him warming those tires up to that number 66 freight auctions machine. And he's gonna, show you how it's done here. I think he's definitely gonna be a contender here for, this race here. Obviously, very quick driver, but you're gonna see him come out of pit road here and start this out lap here. When it comes to Indy, I feel like it's a big thing not to burn yourself up. Indy is such a huge track here. You can't really push on this out lap. You just kind of have to get those tires warmed up enough so you can push on those 2 extra laps here that these drivers are gonna get to set a fast lap here. I feel like you're going to see Michael probably push a little bit harder because he definitely probably knows a lot better than me and Jeff probably do of what the max is you can get out of that car. But I definitely think some of these drivers aren't going to definitely push as hard as they can here. You see him come out of turn 4 here. He's going to start his first lap.
Yeah, and from many drivers, myself included, that have driven this next-gen car on the service, it is one of the most difficult and tricky cars on the service to figure out how to be fast in. So Michael Mitchum just has that it factor, and he's going to see if we can show it to everybody right here in this qualifying run. Really clean through turns 1 and 2, wrapping that white line almost down onto the drainage ditch on the inside. Just screaming into 3.
You're gonna see those drivers kind of get away from the wall there. You don't, sometimes some people say that the wall kind of does slow you down a little bit, like it almost like sucks you in and it slows your car up a little bit. So you saw Michael kind of get away from the wall there, kind of like how they do in IndyCar, right? Get away from that wall as possible to create any of that side force to get away from there. You're gonna see him do that once more again here. Just sway off that wall, and then you're gonna see him what he runs on his first lap.
And the reason that is, Christian, is it is pretty similar to the side force effect that these guys do, side drafting guys back on the straightaways. When you're right next to a wall, there's turbulent air, and there's not a laminar flow that you would have if you're in clean air with nothing on either side of the car. And it's the same effect when you have somebody right next to you. As you see Michael Mitchum get a little bit out of shape, out of two, onto the backstretch, there's not as much of that clean air on the side of your car when you're right up to the wall. At a track like this long of a track, it is a noticeable effect. Many other tracks, probably not, because you'll lose enough time elsewhere that it won't matter. But big tracks, Talladega, Daytona, Indianapolis, every thousandth can matter in qualifying.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, everything will count here. Michael Mitchum actually blinked at the start of this race, at the start of that, at the end of that first lap. So this will be his heater lap right there, which was his second lap. And once again, I don't know if he blinked. I don't think he got in the wall there, but I didn't see any blinks out of him. But he's not gonna be able to set a lap there. So I mean, he did a really good job at teaching us what we need to do here, but not gonna set a lap for qualifying here at Indy right now. On board with the 51. I think it's the one in the sim. 51 on the paint. That is Steven Maggio. Coming out of turn 4 to complete his first lap.
And what a shocking development for Michael Mitchum, not able to set a lap here. He's one of those guys that if he qualifies up front, he can set sail and drive away from the rest of the field. But now it's going to be extra exciting for the fans at home because we're going to see him fighting tooth and nail through the pack to get up to the front.
No, I definitely agree. It's going to be exciting to see what Michael can do here. We know he's going to be aggressive, obviously. He's always been kind of an aggressive driver on the sim here. But right now, Steven, P7 on the board here. And he's still got the second lap to maybe improve a little bit. Looks like he is improved about 4 or 5 tenths already on the second lap.
And currently, Jacob Malone in that 92 car sits on the pole with a 52.4 flat. The rest of the field about within 4 tenths behind in the top 10. Pretty close field so far. Very competitive numbers that we're seeing in qualifying. Should be a really exciting start to this race.
He even bumps his way up to that P3 spot, 52.447. So a really good lap for that number 1 machine, or 51. We're going to call it the 51 because that's what we see on the car. Great lap for that 51 machine.
And that was a buzzer beater. He set that with less than 10 seconds left in the session. So you're going to have the 92 of Malone and the 12 Myers and the 51 of Steven Maggio as your fast 3.
And we're going to wait on these cars to grid up, and then we're going to get to our starting lineup presented by HVTV up here. Just going to wait on these cars to kind of get ready to go. You know, a lot of these drivers will take a little bit, make sure they got their brake bias underway, make sure that they have the, with the rack and steering pinion, you can change the master cylinders and stuff on here. Big changes that you can make before the race here to ensure that you have the best setup for this race here. So we're just going to wait on these drivers to get ready for this race here, and once we see a majority of people on track, we're going to get your starting lineup started here.
And you said it, what adds the uniqueness of the next gen is even in a fixed setup race, you could still adjust steering pinion, steering offset, front and rear brake master cylinders, brake bias, and many more things. You can even adjust what shows up on your dash. So these guys are going to have a lot to fine tune their cars, and we'll see who has the best strategy starting off in this race.
We'll definitely have to see as we're going to get your starting lineup underway here. Jacob Malone, as we talked about, is going to be your pole sitter in that number 82 Bandits machine with Finnegan Myers, your P2 driver. Steven Maggio and Bobby Helms is going to make up that row 2 with Zachary Trevino and Cameron Lopes. McDermott is going to be that third place row. Obviously, Cameron going to be the backup for Christian Zarate in that number 15 machine. You see Kendorian Davis with Rex Rowe rounding out that fourth row with Nicholas Johnson and Jackson Brown in that rounding out row 5.
We see the cars start to roll off the grid here. We got the 5 car of Joshua Gilbert next to the 38 of Brogan Whitworth. Field starts to get stacked up here. Row 7, you got the 34 Nicholas Rowe next to the 26 of Brendan Larson in Kyle Larson's Indianapolis game. Row 8, 36 of Maxwell Funderburk next to the 57 of Michael Deach. 9th row, the 66 of Michael Mitchum that did not set a lap in qualifying starts next to the 60 of Peter Hopp. Row 10 has the 4 of Riley Ibanez next to the 54 of Chad Zabala. And rounding out your field is the 62 car of Tegan Fox. And here they come. The pack rolls out of turn 2 onto the back straightaway. We're only half a lap away from the start of this race, Christian. What are these guys thinking right now?
I mean, you have to think about being aggressive here. Obviously, we talked about how the pack racing mentality is going to probably be here for a big portion of this race. You have to take advantage of these starts here. You have to take advantage of, everybody being stacked together. If we go green to green here, you're not going to get this opportunity ever again to be stacked up with each other and all that. You have to take advantage here. And I think that's exactly what people are going to do. They have that mindset of, hey, I have opportunities to make up maybe 3, 4, or 5 spots in these first couple laps here. And especially for these front ladies, they just have to worry about holding on. There's going to be people aggressive trying to take this lead back over. And they just have to hold on. Hopefully they can keep that lead from all these hungry dogs that want it.
The pace car takes the field through 3 and 4. The 82 Ford Mustang of Jacob Malone. A front row lockout for Ford. 12 of Finnegan Myers starting next to the 82. Pace car is going to make the hard left off of pit road. Christian, take us to the green.
Yeah, forward front row here, you're going to see them go into that Geico restart zone here. Jacob Malone, Finnegan Myers, green here from Indy.
Oh, and we got a spin out of turn 2. The 16 got tagged.
We saw the 16 get tagged there at the end there. And no caution on the track yet here. As caution does come out.
Yeah, we saw the 16 get way out of shape. Started in the middle of turns 1 and 2, I believe. He got tagged by another car and went around, probably took a car or 2 with him. We're going to check out this high velocity TV replay. There it is right there, you see. Starts all the way back in the middle of turn 2. The 18 tags the left rear of the 16. Spins him around. Michael Mitchum starting in the back of the pack. Nearly collected in that wreck. May have some front nose damage. The 16 gets the worst of that one.
I'll take a look at that Michael Mitchum machine and see if there's any damage on that car. You definitely see it. Right front damage to that Ford Mustang there. So definitely not what Michael wanted to see there. You need to keep this car clean if you want to drive through the field here and potentially race for this win here. Obviously, Michael not racing full time here. He's racing for Xander McKinney. So it's not only about racing to win. It's racing to keep your driver in a good points position.
And Mitchum is not happy in the cockpit of that Ford Mustang right now. Neither of his qualifying laps counted. He knew it was going to be an uphill battle starting towards the back of the pack, and he just got collected in an incident with no fault of his own. But that really goes to show how important being on that bottom is, because the 16, the next-gen car, you could really feel the effect of the cold tires at the start of the race, and he just got a little bit, about a half car width out of the groove. The 18 tried to take advantage of it, he just misjudged it, and he went around. Gave a couple cars damage with him.
I mean, you just saw it. The 16 he pushed just a little too hard there. Got sideways, and when you pack together as much as you are, it really does affect. I mean, there's really nowhere for some of these drivers to go. You see some of these guys maybe with damage coming down pit road here. See the 66 of Mitchum gonna lead him down here, and not surprising. I mean, you saw a lot of front end damage to that Ford Mustang there, and you're gonna see him come down and try to take as much as he can here during this pit stop.
I see these pit crews go to work. Good number of cars stayed out as we only did run, but not even a full lap under green. So a lot of these guys that are up towards the front want to keep that track position. As you can see there, most of the field will stay out of the pit lane.
Yeah, you still see Jacob Malone keeping the race lead here, and obviously not surprising with how early that caution came out. You see kind of the front four kind of staying the same here. I mean, especially when you're up here running up front, you know how to run up front, and you're gonna see, that these drivers are gonna kind of keep position here towards the front.
Looks like the 34 car Nicholas Road wins the race off of pit road. Pun intended. As we see the 62 of Fox, the Ford Ibanez, out behind him. Michael Mitchum, the 66, still in the pit box repairing damage.
Yeah, I mean, luckily
what a tough break for him.
Lucky for Michael, Indy's a huge track. It's a very big facility here, so it does give him a lot of time to sit in that box, get as much as he can do. You can probably get a minute and a half of damage repaired here, and not worry about having to go a lap down or anything here. So you're probably going to see Mitchum come out of here any second now, as you see him already out of the pit road. And look at that car, pretty clean and green already. With considering the circumstances, that car does not look too bad.
Yeah, that 66 crew did a great job breaking out the power tools, getting some bare bond on that thing, and it looks brand new and shiny. Yeah, and as you were saying, Christian, you could get about a minute and a half of repairs done without going a lap down. Those guys just did a 2-minute, 9-second lap under the pace car, so you can get even more than we even initially thought done in the pits. It looks like that's what a lot of those guys did, is they're going around the field, catching up to the back of the pack before this restart.
Yeah, it shows Michael Mitchum in the pits for 1 minute and 56 seconds, so almost 2 minutes of damage fixed there. So I mean, you can definitely get a lot done, especially in the sim. If it's just optional repairs here, that's a lot of time here that you can take advantage of here at Indy to sit down there, get that car fixed as much as you can here, and even then you still have, you can go in right at the start and then go back in with 2 to green there and continue to fix more if you need to. You see, once again, lights are off on the pace car. We'll be going green here, going down the long back straightaway here. But Jeff, I mean, looks like some exciting finish here. You saw during that start of the race where we were doing the static cams, saw a couple drivers get up into the wall there, and you're probably going to continue to see that throughout the race here, just how narrow this track is. It's going to be easy for those drivers to get up there and grab that wall.
Yeah, the key to this race, 100 laps, 250 miles here at Indy, is just stay calm, learn from your mistakes, and make adjustments throughout the race. These guys probably hadn't done a restart in a long time, or maybe ever, in this car at this track, and now they know they got to back it off, take it easy on the first lap, make sure they get the tires up to 10, but then they can start pushing. But the pressure is there to make moves, because we know that the restarts are the best opportunity to gain positions.
And definitely we're going to see some aggression here. We're going to see that pace car take that hard left turn on the pit road. And Steven Maggio, and now Jacob Malone. So Steven Maggio up to P2 in that Toyota. They're going to lead us to green here. Green flag once again. Two by two going down turn 1 there. You already see some people making moves. I think that's the number 14 machine, Rex Rowe, making his way up to P5 already, up 3 spots from where he started.
Yeah, the 10 of Jackson Brown got hit out of the group. Oh, we got a wreck in the short chute. Big wreck. Out of turn 1. Caution is out once again. We didn't even make it 2 corners.
Saw that 36 involved there. We're right on board with him to see what he saw through this. I think it was kind of through him. I think he just completely overshot. Turn 1 here. You're going to see him getting the back end of that 60 machine. That is Peter Hop. And I don't know, maybe a mechanical issue with that machine. I don't really know. I mean,
It almost looks like he lost brakes almost, or he got knocked way out of the groove, and then a nasty hit to the inside
oh
wall
yeah,
in the short
yeah.
shoot.
If you look at this, he makes contact with the 26 here of Brendan Larson, and that's what shoots that car up the track. So let's go back here and we'll go into that zoomed in camera angle here. You're gonna really see the contact between 26 and this 36 here. You see the contact really just upsets the machine here. Just looks like I don't know if he didn't think the 26 was there, but the 26 was definitely there, and you're gonna see the 36 shoot up and out of the track here. If we can find them.
That's another quirk of this next gen. That's another effect of this next gen car is with this rack and pinion steering. If you try to correct the slide at all after you make the initial contact, you are gonna fly straight into the wall with an overcorrection. Incredibly hard to save these cars after it gets sideways. You see the effect of that right there. 5 laps into this race.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, in that 60 car, Peter Hop, nowhere to go for him. You see him just running his lane, and that 36 just gets in the side of him. Unfortunately, I mean, when you overcorrect like that, as Jeff just mentioned, right? You see him bounce off the wall, and it just kind of shoots him back down the track. Grabbing the 60 with him. I think I saw the 26 also spinner out there. But yeah, unfortunate. I mean, that's just hard racing at the start of this race. You see the 34 getting spun around, that Benabone machine. That is the Nicholas Road sitting up here backwards in turn 2.
Michael Mitchum involved again. His second wreck in 5 laps. Just got that damage repaired. That's how the 34 got spun off of his bumpers. It doesn't look like he has that much damage for this time around. Man, he just cannot catch a break so far early in this one.
I see a little bit of left front damage, but nothing too bad. You'll probably see him come down and once again try to repair some of that damage. You see that car behind him with some right front damage as well. So all these guys in the back here, pretty tore up. Not what you want to see on lap 7 here. But we do have some
Jacob Malone's still your leader in that 82.
Yeah.
Not much else has happened up front.
Yeah, we do have some big movers throughout the field here. You see Chad Tubala right there in that 54, up 9 positions from the start of that race here. So doing his due diligence, you know, and as we talked about, people are going to be taking advantage of these restarts, and Chad has done a phenomenal job with his job there in that Blue Chew machine, getting up through the field here, up in the top 10.
Yeah, and Chad's done a great job. Not to throw him under the bus or anything here, but he has done more of a great job of avoiding these wrecks and keeping his car clean than really making aggressive passes on these restarts. Because as you see, he started all the way back in 19th, pretty much dead last in the back of this pack. And just by virtue of staying out of these wrecks and having to come down and repair damage, you can see he's got a little bit of a nose cave in there, the front of that 54. But that's really the name of the game in these really long races, is you don't ever have to be the fastest short run car, even the fastest long run car. You can just keep your car clean, be there at the end, and give yourself a chance. Who knows? The fast guys could wreck. You could have cautions that fall your way. And that seems to be the 54 strategy so far in this one.
Yeah, Chad doing a good job, you know, as Jeff said, getting through the wrecks, keeping that car relatively clean. Like we have a little dimple on the nose, but as long as there's not really any engine damage to that 54 machine, I really don't see an issue to come down and take that damage. You know, if it steers fine, if there's no engine damage to that machine, I mean, I feel like he's doing a good job of keeping that car out there and continuing to make up spots here. Lights again are off on the pace car coming out of turn 2, and as Jeff mentioned before, Jacob Malone's still out front here, as I think he's led every lap of the race, as he has 5 of 7. as we probably saw Steven take a couple of those laps away just through pacing, and obviously Jacob has led every lap, but timing and scoring, if that 51 goes ahead of the 82 on this at the start finish line, the sim's going to give it to him, even though he wasn't leading. But yeah, Jacob Malone basically leading every lap here, and just you know, these cars up here in the top 5, I feel like are kind of want these cautions to keep coming out, because then it allows them to kind of keep this track position. Obviously, some of these faster guys might want it to go green to kind of pull away here, but I think some of these guys maybe in the top 3, top 7 don't mind these cautions, because it just allows them to stay up here for longer.
One thing to note is Finnegan Myers, who started on the outside front row with that number 12 Mustang. He's dropped back 1 position each restart that we've had. That just really goes to show the power of that bottom lane on these restarts. He's just stuck on the top and there's nowhere to go.
And the bottom's going to be the place to be, especially on these restarts. We've seen it time and time again here. But once again, back in the Geico restart zone. And Jacob Malone's going to lead us back to green.
Very disconnected restart. A lot of the guys on the bottom did not go. The 82 is going to clear him into 1.
You can see the 82 clear the 51. You see the 22 making that spot up, making that move up to the P3 spot. Now you see Finnegan Myers getting attacked by the 2 machine there of Bobby Helms.
He's going to lose another spot there. Like I said, start on the outside on that restart, you're just bound to lose at least a position or 2. So they fly into 3. Everybody's single fouled out with a couple gaps in between these little packs of cars.
You see Michael Mitchum already up to P10. You know, he's flying right now, trying to get up through the field here. You're going to see him get underneath that 38 of Logan Whitworth. And you know Michael's going to be trying to get up here as quick as he can.
1 car, 2 cars going all the way down to the inside. That's Mitchum in the 66. Finnegan Myers breaking the draft down to the inside pit wall, going into 1.
You see the 38 underneath the 10 here. That's Whitworth for that P9 spot. I think right now that 10's just going to let him go here. I think that 10 just trying to, it's kind of content where he is right now. And if people want to go, I think he's going to let him go right now. Right now,
Tempers seem to have mellowed out the top 10.
The battle
so
back
far.
there for the P6 spot. And once again, Michael Mitchum making moves for that P7 spot, looking underneath that 15 for the P6 position here. And I mean, you're going to continue to see this number 66 drive his way through the field here. You have to think, though, is Michael using his stuff up a little too early to try to get this track position? And will that tire fall off be something he has to be paying attention to if we continue to go green here?
I don't know. I think there's definitely a balance between pushing right now and saving your tires to the end of the run. I think in his situation, this is a pretty stacked field, but he is the best of the best, just statistics-wise in this field. So I think that he has the ability to push now and still have some pace that he can save for later on in the run. Don't know if it's going to get him a win if this goes all the way green, but he's definitely going to have a shot at it.
Yeah, I see him make that position up on the number 15 of Cameron there, also filling in for Christian Zarate. So two fill-in drivers right now, you 6th and 7th spot. And now the battle for the lead has kind of started to die down here. You see the number 92, Jacob Malone, starting to pull a little bit of a gap on your P2 driver, Steven Maggio, in that 51 machine. You see Zach Rubino, Finnegan Myers kind of somewhat together here for in that P3 and 4th position.
Field slowly spreading out. Everybody's trying to find their groove, hit their marks, save a little bit of tires. See the 18 hard into the wall out of 2. Way back there is Mitchum goes for another spot.
Oh my God, we had a car up and over.
Big wreck on the backstretch. The 60 car hits the wall hard out of 2. And he's going to take that straight to the garage.
Yeah, definitely have to see what's going on there. I'm pretty sure we saw that car go up and over in the grass here. Almost he did. All 4 tires off the ground here. And once again, it just looks like another racing deal. You saw that 18 get in the wall there, and it just forced everybody to kind of panic around him. And fortunately, Peter Hopp definitely got the worst end of that situation.
Yeah, we saw way in the back of the pack. The 18 push up tight into the wall at a 2. That stacked a couple of cars up right next to them. They were almost 4 wide going onto the backstretch, and the 60 gets the worst of that exchange. What a hit. And straight to the garage, as we saw, his day will be done.
And I'm not sure if these drivers do get a fast repair, but if he does not have a fast repair to save him, that is a race over for the Peter here. See that car in pit road. They're definitely gonna take a little bit of time for the to tow, because obviously he was not gonna limp that car back with the engine expired. So at the very least, he's gonna be sitting in there for a little bit for that tow. And I'm not sure if the drivers do get a fast repair, but well, I mean, for the sake of Peter, I hope there is, because that's a horrible way to go out if there isn't.
So these drivers do have one fast repair for the race. However, I don't know if the time that he takes towing all the way from the backstretch, more than half a lap away from the pits, he's going to go at least 1 lap down from this, and maybe more than that, despite the fast repair putting him back on the track after this is all said and done. It's going to be pretty hard for him to climb back from that, especially with how many more cars are going to have damage and there will be laps down before this one's over.
See some cars down pit road here. I think that's Jackson Brown in a number 10 machine. You saw him running in the 10th place spot. Coming down, probably going to take some tires and some fuel. Saw him starting to fall back a little bit there through these green flag runs here. So see that 18 machine all tore up on the right side here. Also going to come down here. Going to use that fast repair and make his way back out of pit road as well.
Christian, if you're one of the front runners, say one of the cars that's in the top 5 right now, Malone, Maggio, Trevino, Myers, or now Michael Mitchum, who has now really pushed and got himself up into the top 5, what are they thinking right now with this strategy? When do you think they're going to come down pit road? Do you think they're banking on it going green all the way to the end of the race? Or do you think that they want to have more cautions so that they can have a more clear-cut strategy to finish this one out?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, especially with how the cautions have fallen, right? We had the first 2 cautions really at the start of each restart. You had it one out of turn 2, and then the other one not even into turn 1, so barely into turn 1. This one we ran a couple laps. What a good 5-6 lap run there. But now I feel like it's an awkward spot, right? I don't think they've used enough tires to negotiate a pit stop right now. I think the tires are still pretty decent here, but now I feel like it's going to depend. I feel like this next caution will depend on what people are going to do here. If there's a next caution, I can see people maybe making it the strategy to stay out longer, hoping for more cautions. But if we do get a longer green flag run here, I can see some of these front runners come down pit road for the first time here.
Yeah, we got to give a hats off to this Indy Motor Speedway safety crew, as we already got that big wreck from the 60 cleaned up, and we're ready to go back racing.
And we see Malone, Maggio, Trevino, Myers, your top 4. Green once again here at Indy.
Again, the 82 gets a great jump, clears both lanes into one.
Pretty good jump by the 22 there. He's going to make a case for that P2 spot there going into turn 2 here. Number 51 is going to clear here, but here comes Michael Mitchum already up into the P4 spot. He's going to try to take a look at the 22 here for the P4 or P3. 3 wide almost down the backstretch.
And we saw Myers lost yet another spot, restarting on the outside, but he was able to cross Michael Mitchum over out of turn 2. Give him a run for his money there. Looks like Mitchum is going to keep the spot all the way up to 4th, 15 laps into this one.
See the 14 get a bump by the 2 back there. Bobby Hum's trying to get around the 14 here. That's actually going to check up Bobby a little bit. And now he's going to be under attack by the 15 of Cameron Lopes. See Michael Deitch back here, getting passed by the 38 of Brogan. Brogan making his way up through the field here as well, up 2 spots. Michael Deitch in his respective area up 5 spots. So be a good battle up here for the P9 spot. Contact. And there's another caution. I think that's Jackson Brown in the 10 machine as it is. Wow, you saw him just come down here and take some tires here. See what happened between him. Looks like once again, oh man.
A huge overcorrection into one. I don't know if he got help from the Hendrick Carr's car behind him. Not sure which one of the two that was.
I mean, definitely
The
take a closer look at this to see. It looks like he did get some
26,
help. Looks like he did
but a
definitely get some
huge
help.
overcorrection after the bump from the in the rear by the 26. Oh, what a hit. That's going to be a tow back to the garage and a faster pair to use if he has not already. It looks like he has not used his fast repair yet, so he'll be able to stay in this race, albeit multiple laps down by the time this one goes back green.
Yeah,
Saw
that.
Peter Hop, even after using the fast repair, he was now 3 laps down because of that extremely long tow for all the way from the backstretch. And the 10 cars is going to be even longer from turn one.
Yeah, that's catastrophic hit for that number 10 machine. That's a very, very. That's gonna hurt in the morning. Even in these virtual cars. I mean, with how if he does have a more powerful wield, I mean I mean with how fast that snapped. I mean, if he has a more powerful wheel, that's gonna be hurting your hands with how fast that car snapped underneath him. So yeah, definitely a faster pair is gonna be in use for that 10 machine, and he's definitely gonna come back out here and hopefully keep that car clean for the next what 85 laps here. So
Pace car will come back around, and we might see some of these front runners consider coming down and topping off on fuel, taking a fresh 4 set of tires. We will be at the 83 lap to go mark. We come back around to the line. See what these guys do. It's like a couple
think about it.
takers and fakers. It's like we got one. No.
One car down pit road here. I think is that Michael Deitch? No, that is not Michael Deitch. We have so many Hendrick cars paints. The 36 right there still on pit road.
Take a wild guess who their favorite driver is in this league.
Yeah, we'll see. You see Tegan Fox still with that heavy right front damage here. Is not used that fast repair yet. See him overshoot the box there. Still gonna come down
Fox
here.
is saving that repair for later, which is I think the smart move. If you can repair it now, the car is still drivable, and just keep it on the track till the end, you might have a shot at it when it comes down to it.
You see that Wild West Camaro right there. A lot of damage to that machine. I mean, that's really banged up. You see that right front even towed out a little bit there. So definitely not driving the way Tegan wants to right now. But as Jeff just mentioned, trying to save that fast repair for maybe later on in the race. It's going to be a very uphill battle for some of those guys like Jackson Brown there in that 10 machine. Half in the race, basically the rest of the race. Peter Hop with just that one fast repair. So you see Peter out on track once again. 2 laps down, but they elect to use that fast repair. So gonna be an uphill battle for some of these guys. Not even halfway through the race here, and I have no insurance policy now to lean onto if they do get into another wreck.
See the 60 of Hop getting the free pass on this caution, and maybe what these guys are banking on, especially that Wild West machine, is if they keep getting these cautions. Like we said before, we could fix up to 2 minutes of repairs on 1 lap under caution. So if we keep getting caution laps and multiple of those, multiple cycles of yellow flag pacing, then they might be able to have a fully repaired car by the time the long run comes later on in the race. But only time will tell. Again, a lot of that is just getting lucky when you come in and take fresh stuff and when you repair your damage. And what happens to the other cars, whether it's good fortune or bad.
Yeah, exactly. You have to think about that and we mentioned it before, how long it takes for people to get around. You see that 10 car trying to peel out. I don't think he's going to beat the pace car. Definitely isn't. So he's going to have to stop here or take that penalty. We'll see what he does here. Going to stop on pit road. Pit road is closed right now as everybody's trying to get around here. You see it open up around when Peter Hop comes out. Yep. And you're going to see that 10 car go. Now 2 laps down to the field here.
And Brown in this 10 is going to restart behind Hop in that 18th position on this restart.
And surprisingly, that will be a pal for position. Both 2 laps down here, the 60 and the 10 machine. So they will. Jackson Brown will be. I think because he had to wait here, we'll be starting behind him instead of beside him. With how iRacing works, we'll put him on the back and on the bottom, on the inside lane here. But still, that's surprisingly a battle for P17 here with these 2 cars 2 laps down.
So far, despite all the carnage and the 4 or more cautions that we've already had in this race, we only have 1 DNF so far. The 36 of Maxwell Funderburg is involved in more than 1 wreck, used his fast repair, and decided that the damage was too much and called it a day.
And that's something that's going to happen here at Indy with, you know, how aggressive people can be here. You know, we saw 3-4 wide that they fanned out there towards the back there, and when you do that, I mean, there's a very huge chance that you can, you know, cause calamity here and get involved in some things out of your doing here.
Pace car is going to make that now familiar. Hard left on a pit road. These guys are going to get stacked up, ready to go in these 2 lanes. 82 Malone in the Geico restart zone, and we're back green racing at Indy.
Another great jump by the 82 machine. Is going to clear the top here once again. And you see the 51 now under attack by the 66 for that P2 spot. 51's going to clear right now, but here comes the 66. Is going to put his nose down there in the turn 2. Side by side for the P2 spot. Contact.
Oh, the 51 gets on the wall. Oh, we got a car spinning hard in the inside wall again. That's been the trouble spot so far. The car's funneling out of turn 2 onto the backstretch has claimed another victim, the 14. And that's going to bring out another caution on another restart.
Yeah, the turn 2, just calamity corner, it looks like. And it looks like he gets some help from the 12 car here. And we'll see if he came off the... Yeah, it looks like he hit the wall here, actually. Popped the wall here, came down the track, and it's kind of just like 2 cars coming together. He popped the wall, and the car's naturally going to come down the track. You see the 12 just naturally coming up the track because that's just the way, you know, these big Bodie stock cars are. You're going to try to use up as much of the track as you can here, and just those 2 get together. Lucky for the 14 machine, he hits the back end of that 14 high point machine instead of the front. So obviously probably going to be maybe some toe link damage, maybe definitely some rear end damage, but definitely could have been worse with that engine.
Yeah, it goes from a for sure fast repair if you hit on the front end to possible fast repair or repairable damage, at least under caution for that 14 at Rex Row. Up with the front, we saw the first thing that we've seen, the first time all day that we've seen a car on the outside of the first 2 rows make the outside work on a restart. The 66 of Mitchum was able to get by on the outside and make the outside work, and then he ended up trying to go underneath the 51 and almost made that work as well in back-to-back corners. The 51 ended up getting tight, went up the track, and the caution saved him as Mitchum was going to come fast on his inside into 3. But Mitchum still has not come down pit road yet after that initial repairs. And as I say that, announcer's jinx, he's going to do so right now. And he's not going to do so. Double jinx. So looks like he's going to test his luck. He's got the track position that he wants. And you can see, even with all these restarts and the aggressiveness that he's been showing, he is still faster than almost the entire field. And he does not want to give up that position.
Yeah, you saw him fake in and out of the pit road. You're going to see drivers do that. It's pretty easy to do here at Indy, trying to bait a driver to come down pit road. It's very common here, at least in the iRacing community. Look like you're going down pit road and then fake out, kind of like the Kyle Larson is what they call it sometimes. He was notorious of trying to do that, of trying to dip out last second. You saw him, back in, 2014, 2015. You see Peter Hopp almost getting the back of your race leader there. But I think it was 2014 or 2015, 2016. You saw Larson make contact with the 18 at that time of Kyle Busch down pit road, trying to fake out. And so, that's kind of where everything kind of started right there. Kind of transferred over to the sim now. Right now, we talked about Mitchum. He is your biggest mover, up 13 spots there in that P3 machine. In that P3 spot, Michael Deitch in that P7 spot, up 8 positions. And I think the next biggest mover, there's a couple people that have gained. No, there's 2 people, Riley Ibanez and Chad Kubala. You know, we saw them. We talked about Chad earlier this race. Both up, respectively, 6 positions. See Tegan Fox. I don't know if he used that fast repair, but front end looks brand new on that car, so I can assume we can actually look real quick. And no. Yes. No.
Tegan Fox did use a fast repair in that 62. He had enough of repairing the damage in the pits and didn't want to lose any more track position. And he made the right move. He's now the last car in the lead lap, but he will stay on the lead lap. But we'll lose that fast repair for the end of the race, if need be. Not much action has gone on in the top 5 besides some shuffling of spots. 82 of Malone still your leader. The only wrench thrown into it is the 66 of Michael Mitchum, up to 3rd place after gaining 13 spots in now 23 laps. Start this one, not even a quarter of the way through the race. Michael Mitchum is already battling for the lead after nearly getting taken out in multiple wrecks in the first 5 laps. You're going to give a little love taps to the 82. And another.
And another. He's just telling that 82, hey, I'm in 3rd now. I'm going to give you that shove on the restart here. It's kind of, you know, obviously these drivers have team comms that we can't hear, so it'd be interesting to hear what's going on there. But obviously, bumping and stuff is a lot more casual here and a lot more recognized is a good thing than it would be in real life here. You see when that happens down in the real life. It's probably something that happened that we didn't know about when it comes to maybe some beef or some drama or something, but very common here in the sim to see drivers bumping and giving love taps down pit road, or down under pacing here.
I'm going to go with they just love each other very much. It's a more positive outlook. Although with Mitchum, anything's possible.
Exactly. Mitchum it's been known as kind of a polarizing character. You either love
least.
the guy or you hate him. So, you know, very, very energetic, very extroverted person. So, you know, some people find that very good. Some people don't. So, we'll see how this 82 feels about Mitchum when he potentially battles for the lead here, coming to the restart here.
His car makes a hard left once again. There it goes. Malone's going to lead us to the restart.
Geico restart zone. And green. Good shot by the 66 to the 82. 82 is going to clear going into turn 1 here. Now side by side for second going into this turn 1.
The most connected the top 6 have been as the 66 pushes the 51 out of the way, and he's going for the lead. Michael Mitchum. Trying to clear him up a 2, and he's going to get there. Muscles his way past the top 2 to take the lead on the back straightaway.
And what a move by that 66. I mean, you know he meant business. When you see his name on the list, you know he's not going to come in here and be cordial around people. He's going to get up to the front and get up front as quick as you can. You see the 51 actually put the bumper to the 82. That's going to check him up. Now that's going to back him up to the 22 and the 12 of Myers back here for this battle for the P3 spot.
And Maggio, Trevino, and Myers in a tandem train. Here comes Myers to the inside, peeking to the 22. He's going to back up it into 1, but those guys are racing really hard for that 3rd spot. Still are through turns 1 and 2. Side by side.
Side by side out of 2. It looks like the 51 is going to clear here. It'll be single file once again here for this P3 position. And now everybody trying to get single file back here in this top 5. You see Back here in P6, you see Bobby Helms in that P6 position. Michael Deitch up 8 spots in that P7 position. Nicholas Rode in that 34. He got caught up in one of those couple of wrecks at the start of the race, up to the 8th place spot. And Kendorian Davis also was your first caution up here in the P9 spot.
That Rode in that 34 is the farthest car up that has used his fast repair. He's done a great job recovering from that spin off of Michael Mitchum's bumper early on, whatever other incidents he was involved in. See further back, the 15 makes a pass on the 18. That's the P12 spot.
And you see Cameron actually backing up to these guys back here, down 6 positions. Obviously, we want to highlight some of the good stuff. You see the 18, Riley. You see the 18 right there, trying to make a move on the 15. We saw him peek his nose in there. And not going to make it happen here, at least right now. You see a battle back here. You see the 4-car of Ibanez back here, trying to make something happen. That 18, I believe, might be a. As you see the 10. Remember the 10 and the. No, Peter Hopp won. Once again, I'm mistaken. Peter Hopp back 1 lap down here, but 10 in the 60 lap car is trying to battle it out, getting around the 4 of Ibanez. But Michael Deitch under fire from the 34 here. 34 trying to make a move here for this P7 position.
Now Michael Deitch is really struggling to get that car out on the bottom. You see that he was about a half car width up in that turn 4. And that is a danger zone if you have a car breathing down your neck, because the car behind could send it in on you. And if you leave the door open, it's almost a green light to say, hey, I can get door off the track. I could possibly get wrecked right here, and there's nothing I can do about it because it's a one-groove racetrack. I'm going to be up into the outside wall. But you can see he's committed to not getting all the way down to the bottom there. I'm not sure if that's a strategy he's trying to do to maybe save his stuff a little bit. I don't know if that does save any of your stuff or if he's just missing the bottom. But it's leaving the door open for that 34 and trying to make a move. 34 is getting clean air wrapping that bottom of the track, and he's going to be side by side with him in the short shoot.
Yeah, it's something you're going to see in the next one's lives. You just need to get that left front out in that clean air. You know, see a lot of the pros talk about that. All you need is that left front out in that clean air, and you're going to be able to make up and keep that clean air. Once again, and as we saw, 34 is going to make that pass for that P7 position. You see the 38 driving his way through the field. As you see the 16 and the 14, that was close. 14 had to back out the stay from the back end of that 16 machine. But you're going to see the 16 try to drive it in, trying to force that 38 to run the top here. And now side by side for the P9 position here.
And we're really seeing a battle for that draft on the straightaways, but then pulling out to get that clean air in the corners. It's so important to not push up tight and get into the wall. Brogan Whitworth made a great move, but Kendorian Davis in that 16 is going to clear him into the short chute. And that's just all because of that clean air and getting the advantage. Peeking your nose out to the inside and getting down to that white line in the corners. Rex Rowe in that 14 coming back from his wreck. He's challenging Whitworth at the line.
I see him side drafting that 38, trying to get that right front, right on the quarter panel of that 38 machine, just to try to slow him down. And that's all you're doing is you're taking air off that machine. You see, oh, there, a slide by the 38.
A big bobble. What a save. He was really lucky to have saved that with his steering on the next gen. Could have very easily overcorrected and ended his day. And the 38 almost does the same thing off of 2. Calamity Corner, man, almost strikes again. He keeps the car clean.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about that turn 2, but everybody's having issues there, at least at the start of this race. This green flag run is going to be huge. It's going to allow these drivers to kind of figure out what they need to do for that spot of the track. You see a battle right here for the P3 spot. Ibanez, Zach Trevino has caught these guys, and now a battle for the P3 spot.
He's trying to make that outside lane work, and with the clean air, you can get a little bit of a run. If you could just stay side by side with them through their corners, you can get a run off the exit. But the white line on the bottom groove is too powerful if you don't have a push on the straightaway. He falls back in line, and now he's under attack from the 12 of Myers. It's too much to sacrifice, I think, early on.
Yeah, and that is the big thing about when you're trying to catch a car, unless you're just straight up faster. And it looks like these guys are pretty close on lap times. You see even Jacob Malone starting to fall back here to these three drivers. You have to have the help of the driver behind to push you up to the guy in front here. You see the 12 and the 22 almost kind of locked together drafting style to get back up to these two. You're going to see, ooh, a little bump to the 22. And then we have a caution. Rex Rowe once again with an issue here. See if he had some help here. Once again, I think that's out of turn 4 here. And oh man.
Or comes way up the track. Oh, he hits the impact attenuator on the pit wall. What a hit. That is Indy has had a lot of nasty wrecks over the years, but that is the one place you do not want to find your car. Out of turn 4, screaming down the front stretch, hitting a brick wall at close to 200 miles per hour.
We're right on board with this 14 here. Let's see if the camera will hold up here. And oh man.
That angle doesn't do it justice. That hit is unbelievable. And he does have a fast repair in the bank, but will not be able to make it back to his pit box without a tow. What a break for him. I don't know if he just didn't know that there was a car on his outside, or if he thought there was more room than there actually was. I'm not really sure what happened there.
Yeah, you see the 15.
It looked like he just drifted up the track into the 15.
Yeah, you see the 15. He's pretty much as close to the wall as you can there without hitting it, and you just see him drift up. I don't know if his spotter called him clear here, but gets into the side of the 15. 15 and him kind of shimmy down the track, and unfortunately, you run out of room there. Either you drive down pit road and you see him trying to get that car back up the track here. Fortunately, the car does not want to turn as much, especially when you yacht out like that. It just doesn't want to turn up the track there, and unfortunately, he grabs the 15 and the 18 machine there. Luckily, everybody else was able to drive around this wreck here, but I mean, we've seen a lot of big hits this race. That by far takes the cake right now.
These wrecks keep getting crazier and crazier. I don't know what we're going to see next. The car fly out of the track into the infield or something, as finally the majority of the field is going to come down, take service on pit road, led by Michael Mitchum. This is exactly what he wanted. He wanted to wait until he got in that clean air out in front to keep that track position before he ended up taking service. And here we go. These crews are going to finally get put to work.
You saw Michael lock up the tires there, and that's something that these drivers do even in real life. They try to almost kind of speed to the line and then trying to stop right before the pace speed to, get that little bit of a gap going into pit road here to get yourself a potential better spot here, or for Mitchum, to keep this race lead here. Race off pit road here. Mitchum. You see the 34 behind them. I wonder if they took two, if he had to have taken 2, because he was back wet in fourth place spot. Maybe just a really good stop by him. But we can look at the pit times here. 49.9 for Mitchum. 48.5 for Mitchum. 48.2 for Jacob Malone, and a 46.2 for Nicholas Road there. So what a stop by that 34 machine, getting in out of the pits. Almost 2 seconds quicker.
We were talking about it earlier. We were talking about at the start of this race with how hard it is to pass, even with how many cautions we've had and restarts, with how hard it is to pass on the track. The best strategy for some of these guys that aren't the best on speed would be take a gamble on pit road. The track position we've seen already is incredibly important, and you might find yourself in luck at the end of this one with the strategy call that you make.
Yeah, definitely. We see Brogan staying out here. You see him blinking a little bit, but he stayed out. He's only got 12 laps on his tires, so he came down during one of those other cautions, took tires, so he does get to make the strategy call here to stay out on those 12 lap full tires. Remember, I would say probably 9 or 10, maybe 8 of those laps were probably on during caution. So honestly, not a bad call for that 38 to come out here and take this race lead away through some pit strategy.
And that's just more proof of the mantra of racing, is sometimes it is better to be lucky than to be good. He pitted, he came in and took service when nobody else or very few other cars on the track did. And it looked like he was going to be riding around to the back half of the top 10, even with his new tires, maybe saving them for the end. But now he's got an opportune caution and is presented with a situation where he's got fresh enough tires and a number of caution laps on him, and you know, fresher than you would think for 13 lap old tires. And now he's in a position to be able to gain back spots that he would not have gotten otherwise racing on the track. So some of these guys at the front will probably, you know, be incredibly aggressive and try to get by him with these fresh tires. But remember, his tires have had a heat cycle on them already, and his tires are going to heat up differently than the brand new tires of Mitchum, Rode, and Malone. And of course, Rode also on 2 tires or shorter stops, as far as we know. So there's going to be a lot of different interesting strategies that are going to come into play on this restart right here. Really exciting to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, and I don't even think this is a move to win the race here. Even if he can sit back there in that 4th, 5th, 6th place, I think it's a win for Brogan here. Obviously, he does have those older tires here, but even if he can just keep him and give him a jump here, I think that's going to be a win in his book here. We know we know that Mitchum is going to be quick here. We know Jacob, he led a good portion of this race already. Nicholas has driven up through the field after taking that fast repair. Even if he can sit back there in that 5th, 6th place, I think that's a good win for him. But once again, this pace car is gonna take that hard left on the pit road once again, and now Brogan is gonna lead us to green here.
38's gonna have control of this restart, and we are going.
Great jump by the
Mitchum gets a better jump on the outside, and they almost thought about 3 wide into 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure what if Brogan didn't think the restart was on him or if it was on green, because you saw him. Ooh, you see the 34 get shuffled out. That was scary. 3 wide in the middle of turn 2 there. Wow, I can't believe they all kept it off each other. But what I was trying to say is I think it looks like Brogan stumbled on the start there. We got a caution out on the track. I'm not sure if Brogan thought that was on him. See if we can find where that wreck is.
And remember, the restart is green when the control car first gets on the gas to speed up. So if there's a case where the control car spins his tires, remember he was on 13 lap old tires. If he goes and then lets up, if he goes and breathes a little bit, the outside lane can still take off. So they might take a look at that restart to see if Mitchum did any shenanigans there, try to get a better jump than the 38. But to me, if Mitchum just had, you know, went like he usually does and there was an issue with a 38, then restart should be good.
I'm trying to find where this caution came out from. It looks like all the cars are clean. Maybe a little maybe silly spin or something. I'm trying to find this for you fans at home.
The only thing I could think of is we did see Michael Mitchum, the leader, after he got clear of the 82 and the 38, blink out for about half a lap until that caution came out.
I'm trying to go on this race cam here. Of someone towards the back here. This is the right on board with Brendan Larson here, and yeah, I don't really see. Maybe this is that? I'm very unaware if they have stages here in the Hyperdrive Cup series. Maybe that was the stage yellow. I don't know why they would just do a restart and then throw the caution, but I still don't see any cars that look tore up here. Michael Mitchum's still in the lead here. Very confusing.
Would not be a stage caution, as the stage yellow would come out at the line and not half a lap after a restart. See a number of cars in the back of the pack come down and take service.
And that 38 is
4 or
going to be
5
the
cars.
38 is going to be the guy who leads them down pit road, I guess. Didn't want to gamble again, so he's going to actually take come down here, probably take a set of tires. You see him overshoot the pit road a little bit. Okay, that happens. You can see him right side of that car lift up. And away he goes. He's gonna lose the spot in the pit road to that that machine out in front there. As a no, he's gonna give the spot up on pit road there, and he's gonna lead the pitters out of pit road here. Drivers kind of know where everybody's gonna drive, how everybody's gonna function and stuff, and you think they might start to calm down and maybe try to run this out a little bit longer here without having a caution, every 10 to 15 laps. You think that some of these drivers are gonna know, okay, so and so is gonna be aggressive. This person's gonna let me go if I put my nose in there, and hopefully we can get some good green flag runs here. I do apologize for the technical difficulties. Server not being able to connect to our producer's computer the best. We're going to try our best to keep you guys updated the best we can here.
Given what we've seen so far, Christian, at what point do these guys say, okay, I've had enough of pushing on these restarts. Maybe I hang back a little bit, back it off just a tad, save some tires, save some fuel, and try to play the long game, because we're bound to get a long green flag run eventually, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you have to play for the long run. I mean, there's got to be some portion of the race where the laps are going to go green here, and people are going to start to figure out that you can't be aggressive throughout the whole race here. You're going to have to figure out how to maintain a pace and go green here towards the end. But obviously we have to get there first to see if that will happen. I mean, I've definitely been a part of races. I've seen races where you think, oh, they're going to go green by now, right? And then they don't. So obviously we'd like to see that happen, but I think these drivers are definitely capable of doing that. But we just have to see if they can put the pieces together to get it done here. The lights off on the pace car here. We're going to be going 40 complete. 60 to go here, and still a long race for everybody to figure out the car. Not even halfway done with the race here. You have to think that some of you will see some guys that can figure out the car as the race goes and maybe make their way up through the field here later in the race. These connections are super tricky to get a hold of, so you might see some drivers try to come through the field here. But once again, pace car is going to take that hard left turn here. And Michael Mitchum, once again, is going to lead us to green here. Once again at Indy. Going to the Geico restart zone. Green once again.
Inside lane had a terrible restart. The top three on the outside completely passed by everybody on the inside that was on their respective rows as they file out all the way into the top 5.
The 12 and the 51 going at it here. Now the 12 and the 22 going to go at it now. As we see a wreck in the back here, that's the 54.
Again, another restart wreck off of turn 2. 54's in it. Rex Rowe in the 14 is not happy.
Yeah, Rex just has not been able to catch a break here, and we'll see what happened here. Looks like the 54 was the first guy involved here. Try to take a
On
look with.
the 38 of Whitworth, we were just talking about him being the lead car on the previous restart and saying he didn't want to take another risk and stay out for another restart. That's the risk you take. That is the risk you take. You say, hey, I'm going to go and get fresh tires and try it all over again. You lose that track position. You expose yourself to get involved with these incidents at the back of the pack, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, you see that 54 coming out per road here. Doesn't look like a lot of front damage. Nah, it really could have been worse for that car. Not like a lot of damage to that 54 machine, so definitely could have been worse. You'll see Mitchum continuing to lead this race here, and I mean, you got to think he's got the lead now. It's going to be really hard to take that away from that 66 machine now. Still see the 51 down there of Maggio continuing to be up here contender. I really think he's in the top 5 about all race here. Same thing with Trevino here. I feel like these top 4, top 5 have kind of been concise this whole race here. You're going to see Michael do his thing, try to force people down pit road, but decides to stay out once again.
It's going to work for a few people in the back, but I think that these guys up front in the top 5 or 10 that are seeing Mitchum just blow by everybody on these restarts and start pulling away, if not for a caution, he would be pretty far ahead of the pack, I would think. You're seeing these guys just say, okay, it's unlikely that I'll be able to go up and pass that guy that's got clean air and the quickest car on the track. So maybe I'm just going to sit here and just keep my car clean, keep my stuff fresh and underneath me. And we'll see how that turns out for those guys towards the end. Because if we keep getting cautions like this, keep taking laps away under pacing, we saw they didn't pit until, I mean, over 30 laps into the race. So we could see that again, or even a longer run on these tires before these guys pit, just to keep the track position, because it is that important here, even with how many restarts we have.
No, I mean, it's definitely going to be track position is going to be the big thing here. You've seen some guys. I think Mitchum really being the only outlier of guys who has been able to drive up to the field here and make something out of it, out of like the pace of his car here. Everybody else, when they've gotten to the back, they've either not been able to drive back up through the field here and get that track position back, or they've just been caught up in calamity out of turn 2 by the looks of it. So I feel like track position throughout the rest of the race there's going to be very huge here. I mean, and if you can keep your car up here in the top 10, I feel like you have to do everything you can to not give up that track position once again. You should see the lights on the pace car go off here. Any moment now. And we'll be going 1 to green here this next lap. You see, as you do see the lights go off there.
Now, what point does fatigue start to set in for these drivers? They've had over 5 restarts, more than that, close to 10 restarts now, and racing incredibly hard and then stopping, and then harder and then stopping again. So they're tiring themselves out. They're tiring their equipment in the same as well, out every single time they start and stop. And you go 100 to 0, 100 to 0. How does that affect these guys from your personal experience, Christian? I know how it's affected me and my focus during races, but how does it affect the driver when you're going through those constant periods of change right after each other?
Well, I feel like it depends on the driver, right? For me, like I always wanted to get a run under my belt and make sure everything looked good. You see some tire smoke in the back there, but for some drivers, they like that high intensity feeling of like, okay, I get another opportunity to make up spots here. I get an opportunity to go green once again here. And some people like that. They like the pressure. They like to put themselves in those situations. So for some people, I can imagine they like the cautions to come out because it allows them to continue to gain spots here. But also some people like me want it to go green, where you can really use that race pace to make sure that everything that you put yourself in the best place to get yourself the best finish here.
Yeah, for me, it was always a race dependent thing too. If I felt like I was fast, but I had some misfortune and ended up further back in the pack, I wanted to get a restart to go up there and show what I could do. But if not, and I'm just riding around, I know I'm not the quickest, I would just rather get it over with. Go green all the way. We'll see how it turns out for these guys, though, in this one.
These Michael Mitchell once again green here. By the first time this race, you see the outside kind of go decent here. You're going to see 3 wide going into turn 1 for the lead.
They're going to remain 3 wide, and Mitchum is going to get by both of them in that middle. That was almost disaster for the 66.
Malone trying to.
We have another caution in the short chute. At least one car losing the engine, multiple cars involved. It is just a battle of attrition, survival of the fittest at this point. We're not even halfway through.
Take a look and see what happened here. We saw the 26 involved here. Oh my god, you see the 4 car? What? It looks like you caught the grass, like you, and once again another overcorrect here. And up the track it goes with a plethora of cars right there. Once again, the 14 involved in another crash. The 26 involved. I think that's the 14 whose engine expired. So I think that might be it for Rex and the 14 machine. And let's go on board with him. I think that's the least thing we could do to show him some love tonight with all the calamity he's been through.
Before just down on the bottom of the track near the grass and just comes right up in the middle of the pack. More cars involved, nothing that multiple cars can do, trying to get through that wreck.
As yeah, the 14's race has just basically gone up in smoke there. I mean, definitely not the best race for him. It seems like he's been involved in almost every wreck here, but unfortunately, I think that might be a race killer there, you know, for the 14 of Rex. Nowhere for him to go there. Fortunately, just caught up in something out of his doing once again.
The 38 of Whitworth, who didn't get the worst of that wreck, but he's had his misfortune after restarting in the front, then taking a gamble to come back in, take service, and then getting caught up in these last couple cautions and having to repair damage really throughout the race, not just in this part of the run. He is not happy on the radio. He thinks that, quote, we need some of these kids to lose their fast repairs. It's definitely some frustration and some tempers from these guys that are just trying to make it to the end of this race, or make it halfway. We're not even halfway through this thing yet.
Yeah, I mean, you figured, and we've talked about it before, you figured that these guys would just kind of be content sitting back and, you know, being a little bit more cordial with the drivers around them, because we're not even halfway done yet. We still have a whole 50 plus laps to go here, and unfortunately that's not the case. They're continuing to still race very aggressively and put themselves in positions to cause cautions, but I mean, that's going to be Indy for you. I mean, there's so much track here to take advantage of, but you figured that they would, you know, put themselves in positions to maybe get a green flag run here, but still have yet to see that with 46 complete here.
Yeah, and it's one thing to be aggressive on restarts, but it's another thing when there's so little margin for error at a track like Indy, with how close the walls are, with how short or with how narrow the racing group is, there's so much to lose for making these bonsai moves on restarts. And you'd think that they would learn their lesson after the first couple of quick cautions and start to mellow it out a little bit. But as they're saying, sometimes you just need natural selection to take its course. And that's what these guys are hoping for right now.
Yeah, I
See,
mean,
Whitworth is not happy. Rex Rowe early exit again, he says. It's unfortunate how many times these guys got caught up in a mess that was none of their doing.
yeah, I mean that's the name of the game here. I mean, a lot of times you see some of the quicker guys get caught up in stuff. Like there's been several races we've called here where that the potential favorite to go in there and win the race gets caught up in something out of their control. Not only at Indy, but at any racetrack. I mean, that's just the way the Cup Series is in a lot of these leagues. The best of the best going for at it. I mean, you look at the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. I mean, they're at each other's throats every lap, 3 wide, 4 wide, giving each other centimeters and millimeters of room. So I think that's just the way and the aura of these Cup Series, just that you can't give anybody a break. You can't cut people a break. You have to continue to race for you and you only. And unfortunately, this is what happens sometimes when that happens. You get a bunch of cautions. You get some drivers that have to make an early exit from things not of their doing. But that's just sometimes the way it is with these Cup cars. You see 47 of 100 complete there. So almost approaching that halfway mark of the race here. And you're starting to see some of these fat drivers that are up towards the front, stay towards the front. You see the Mitchums, you see the Trevinos, you see the Malones that have been up here. You see Michael Deitch starting to make his way up here, up into that 6th place position. 3rd car on the outside. You see, now you're starting to see who maybe are going to be the race favorites here. With about halfway done here, you're going to see some of the guys who belong towards maybe the teens and the 20s be there, and you're also starting to see these guys who are going to be racing for the win here make their way up towards the front now.
Pace car makes the hard left. Michael Mitchum's going to have control of the restart once again. They approach the restart zone. And we're green once again. The outside lane gets stacked up behind the 51. The 22 and the 57 did not go. The 82 makes a big block on Myers in the 12. Mitchum's going to lead him through 1 and 2.
82 there at the quarter panel. They're going to go side by side in the turn 2 right here. 82 underneath the 66 here. Coming out of turn 2. 82 side by side here, but he's on that inside. Here comes the 51 to give the 82 a shove. No, 3 wide. See,
that's incredible. They're 3 wide into turn 3. The 82, the meat and the sandwich. See the 51 and the 66 on the high side. This is an incredible battle that we're seeing.
Oh no!
3. The 51 and 82 get together. They save it. What a save! Unbelievable.
And there they go once again.
Oh, now we got the big wreck. There they go. What a crazy sequence of events that was. We got a caution again on lap 49 of this race, excuse me. And that was the first time all day that we've seen somebody, specifically the 82 in this case, be able to challenge Michael Mitchum on a restart.
We're going to go back and look at that 82. We saw him, lots of damage to that machine. And looks like just 3 wide out of the exit there. You saw the 82 trying to give as much room as he could there to the 66. You see the 51 and 82 get together. And look at the save by these two. I mean, that is not an easy feat here. And then you see
not just one, but both cars save it in the middle of a corner.
And then you see the 82 still upset, and unfortunately just gets into the left rear of the 12. And that's just going to, and they're going to wreck right in front of the field here. You see, who was that, the 38 maybe?
The 38 again involved. He is even less happy getting involved in yet another wreck. We saw the 82 and the 51, an incredible battle, and they kind of just came together, you know? The 82 on the outside, he's coming down, trying to make the corner, because remember, it is really barely a one-groove racetrack. And he's just trying to come down and give himself as much track position as he can on that suboptimal high line. And then the 51 is turning into the corner, but not enough to avoid contact with the 82. That's what caused them to get together. Both of them are dead sideways in the corner and save it. We need to take a look at this again. This is an incredible sequence right here. The 51 gets loose. The 82 and 51 both tandem drift. Cue the Tokyo Drift music. Save it again. The 51 squeezes by. The 82 is loose, and again, it's just another racing incident. The 12 is trying to squeeze by on the bottom. The 82 is loose on the top, and they just get together. Man, you hate to see that for those guys that were racing so hard and had an incredible save just before. And this action is just ramping up and up even higher than we expected.
Yeah, we expect
We're only halfway through this race.
We expect the racing to be aggressive for this lead. Obviously, everybody wants to lead here at Indy, you know, the Art of Bricks here, but we did not expect that 3 wide going into turn 1. Unfortunately, you know, racing, that's just hard racing here, and luckily for those 2 drivers, I think the one got out of there relatively clean there, but luckily for the 82 of Malone, he does have that fast repair he can use. The same thing with the 12 of Finnegan. They have that fast repair that they can go to. I'm not sure if they're going to use it yet. Looks like Finnegan went ahead and did it. Malone out of pit road here. So it looks like he might also use that. It looks like he also decided to use that fast repair. So luckily they had those in their back pocket to help basically save their race there. So they will be at the back of the pack there. So they are going to have to drive their way through the field here to get back up to your leader, Michael Mitchum, and now Zachary Trevino.
We are only halfway through the race, and it's easier to list how many cars have not used the fast repair than have taken it. The 66 of Mitchum, the 22 of Trevino, the 2 of Bobby Helms, the 26 of Brennan Larson, and the 16 of Kendorian Davis, and the 57 of Michael Deach as well. 6 cars only still have their fast repair in the bank halfway through the race.
That's something you have to look at.
I knew we thought this was going to be aggressive on these restarts, but that is a crazy stat.
And that's something you have to look at then, you know, Brendan Larson and then Michael Deitcher. You have to look at them and be like, hey, they have their stuff left. So, I mean, they have something that they can fall back onto versus everybody else that if they wreck one more time, potentially they're done. They're out of the race here. So that's something you have to look at here, is that these guys can almost afford to be a little bit more aggressive because they had that fast repair now halfway done with this race. You know, we still have 50 more laps to go, and all these guys have to try to manage their cars the best they can with no fast repair versus these guys that do. So that's all very huge storyline for that, is that there's only a select few now that don't. That haven't used up that precious fast repair. So, and lucky for Mitchum, he's your race leader and has that to use still. So, that's something, and that's almost an accomplishment in itself, right? Mitchum started towards the back end of the field here. Got some damage from a wreck early and still drove his way up to the field here. So, a lot of those guys can, if Mitchum can do it, anybody can do it here. So. Still not out of it for some of these drivers who did have to use that fast repair, but or even still do have a little bit of damage. You saw 66 come and do it. You saw Michael Deitch up there. He kind of made his way up to the top 5, top 6 here. So still very easily doable for some of these drivers.
Gearing up for another restart. Mitchum is going to have control once again. The inside, this time a new friend on the outside, a 22 of Trevino. And the outside lane gets big stacked up again, the 60 and the 34, and everybody behind them. A big checkup, and they're almost 3 wide further back in the pack.
Yeah, 2, 3 wide back
51
there.
absolutely flying on the bottom. The outside lane did not go on that restart, and they are paying the price for it.
And Maggio made up 5-6 spots in just that first corner there. Already up to the P7 spot here. Looking underneath Michael Deitch for that P6 spot. He is flying right now trying to get that track position back. See Finnegan Myers behind there. Oh! A little shot to the 60 machine of Peter Hop. And you see the 12s trying to follow this 51 through here with those fresh Goodyear tires.
Yeah, Peter Hop dropping like a rock from the 4th position. Not only did he not go, but he is on 12 lap older tires than a lot of these guys that are passing him. That is a tough situation to be in, starting from the 2nd row and falling all the way back to almost out of the top 10.
And Malone underneath the 12 here, Dave. We saw earlier with that restart wreck. Malone and the 12 have already gotten to it a little bit. You see Michael Deitch loose.
The 26 had a big checkup, and they are 3 wide on the backstretch. The 82 almost getting turned. That's going all the way down the grass. I don't know what happened to the 26 there of Brendan Larson. It looked like he almost, his engine stopped on the exit of the corner. A big issue for him. Looks like he got it back going again fine, but he had a big checkup. Stacked that whole line of cars up.
Yeah, and that kind of... Oh, as you see the 26, super loose. I thought he was going down pit road. He was so yacht out there. But he's going to get that thing back underneath him. He's going to tuck back in line here. Now you're going to see the 34 of Nicholas Road underneath that 26 machine.
All sorts of issues for the 26. He brushes the wall again. He's under attack from the 16 to the 38.
The loose again. Oh, get some help from the 16 there. And there to the back he goes.
Shows how fast your fortunes can change. You have to do so much to stay up in the top 5 of a competitive race like this. If you make one mistake at a track that's one groove like Indy, there's no getting back.
He's going to have to fasten those seatbelts a little tighter and just get his head back down and keep going at it. You know, he's definitely probably not the most happy camper in that machine, but you still have you still have a little under half of the race to go here. You still have a lot of time to go back up there, try to race back up. You know, we will probably get another caution throughout the race here to give him another opportunity to take those tires. But you see how upset, how loose that number 26 is.
Michael Mitchum remains your leader, but he has only a 4/10 gap and closing to Trevino in the 22. Trevino's done a great job holding his own up there after working his way up spot by spot with those restarts earlier. And he's definitely made his opportunity pay off.
You see Trevino in that P2 spot, and you see him, he's still in the same camera frame as your leader, Michael Mitchum. That's very uncommon to see. You know, Mitchum, since he took the lead, is always kind of pulled away from your front field here. Zachary trying to keep that 66 in his eyesight there, only half a second behind there. And then your P3 driver, Bobby Holmes. Great recovery by him. Remember, he was towards the back end of the field here. He obviously qualified pretty well here in that qualified P4, but ended up getting caught up in that lap traffic and stuff, and made it really hard for him to get back up here. But has survived through the calamity and is up here in that P3 spot. But he is getting pressured by the 15 and the 51. See Steven Maggio already up to the P5 spot.
Oh, we got a big wreck. We got a big wreck into turn 3. They went 3 wide on the backstretch. I believe the 18 was one of those cars and the 34 involved. The 34 gets through unscathed, but man, that was a big wreck. The 18 tries to split the 38 and 34 3 wide, and just not enough real estate for the 3 of them where they were running on the track.
I'll definitely take a look at this.
That's gonna cause some words to be exchanged, I'm sure. Take a look at this battle. The 18 has a run, and just not enough room to make that work. Huge hit for the 18.
Yeah, that's not gonna work for him. That's Nicholas Johnson, the number 18 machine. We're right on board with him once again. We'll see where he saw it from the nose of his car. I mean, And this is a big telling story, and it's a big thing you have to tell each other as drivers, right? Just because there's room to put your nose in there doesn't mean you should probably do it, right? I guarantee you, that both of these guys did not expect him to do that, and we'll go right here with the 34. He didn't even know that the 18 was even going to make that move, and see the 18 just spinning in the back there, and that's, I mean, potentially race-ending damage there. So I we talked about, there's only a couple of drivers that didn't use that fast repair, and it sounds like the engine expiring on that machine here. So that might be race over for Nicholas Johnson in that Interstate Batteries machine.
Yeah, and Johnson was already multiple laps down and showing 6 laps down right now when that incident happened. So he was not even racing for position when that incident happened. And thankfully, the cars in the lead lap escaped relatively unscathed. But as he already used his fast repair, this is going to be day over for Johnson.
As we're watching a replay, we saw some of your lead lap, like your leaders, come down pit road here, I believe. Looking for the 66 car of Michael Mitchum. He's back there in the P13 spot. Yeah, they're just getting done with their pit stops here. You see Michael gonna win the race off pit road. You're gonna see Zachary Trevino, that P3 spot. Bobby Helms, P3. Riley Ibanez and Peter Hopp, P5 out of the pit road here. So your top two in the race deciding to come down here and take a fresh set of tires here with 58 complete.
Now this is really interesting because we still have 8 cars that have stayed out on the racetrack, led by the 15 of McDermott. And that's a name that we haven't said the whole race, but he's trying to take a gamble along with the rest of these guys. It's kind of an interesting mix of cars. I mean, you have Maggio, Malone, and Myers that have run up front the whole time. And then you have guys like Ken Dorian Davis and others that are banking on the track position helping them out and them holding off the guys on fresher tires. But as we could see, they only have 4 extra sets of tires to use in this whole race, and they've already used, in some cases, at least 2 or 3 sets of tires, and we're only 58 laps into this race. So some of these guys are going to be at a serious disadvantage on the tire side if we keep getting cautions like this later on in the run. If we keep getting green-white checkers or things like that, at the very end of the race, who knows who's going to have enough tire to make it to the finish.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm very concerned with some of these guys in the back. You see Dorian Davis. See, I hear he's got 8 laps on his tires, but guess what? Look who's starting behind him. You only have Michael Mitchum right behind you on the restart.
On brand new tires.
On brand new tires, exactly. I'm not sure what the goal is for some of these guys. I figured that I think they thought that maybe more drivers would come down pit road or more people would stay out. But now you have Michael Mitchum only in the 9th place position here on this restart. He's not outside the top 10. He's not outside the top 15. He's 9th with fresh tires here.
And that is the worst spot. Ask any stock car racer. That is the worst place to be, is the last car on old tires on a restart, because you have everybody, the rest of the pack, that has fresh tires and are going to be flying through the field, and you're just going to be left in the dust if you don't get run over and wrecked, especially at a track like Indy where everybody knows the speed difference is going to be incredible on this restart. Once everybody gets the tires up to temp, the fresh tires led by Mitchum are going to be flying through this pack of pretty much half and half old tires and half new tires. And I don't really know the thought process behind staying out. I guess maybe if you want to save a set of tires to the end, you think cautions are going to keep happening. Enough cautions where the tires will kind of equalize out and you'll have to pit with the guys that have freshies anyway. Only time is going to tell, but Should be an exciting restart to see how those guys manage those fresh tires in the second half of the pack here. Pace car is going to pull off a pit road. We will be going green at the 40 to go mark. And we'll see how those guys can make the old tires last in the front, led by the 15. We're green once again. Jump anyway, despite the old tires. Here's where things are going to start to get really stacked up. The 26 hard into the wall off of 1 in the short chute. The 15 already shuffled out. The 82 is coming to the lead. Here comes the 51 as well, and the 12. They're all trying to freight train past this 15 car.
Yeah, 15 with the oldest size. Oh, contact. 15 gets into the side of the 12 there, and the 34 is going to take advantage. You see Michael Deitch trying to make a move underneath the 15 there, but you see Michael Mitchum going to take advantage of the 57 there if he doesn't be too careful here.
Here comes Michael Mitchum. He is the inevitable coming up through this field. We've seen it before, and we're seeing it again. There's nothing you can do, even on equal tires with this guy. On fresh tires, it is game over for these guys up front. It's only a matter of time. The 57 sliding up out of the groove. It's right front. Not gripping as well as the fresh tires of Mitchum, and he's going to lose that spot. And Mitchum is just stalking his prey and the rest of that top 5 up there.
See him through that turn.
The 15 way up the track. Looks like he's just going to let him by there, and he's in the wall. Yeah, some of these guys are, I'm sure, really starting to reconsider if that staying out was a good idea or not.
I mean, you're still seeing Mitchum continue the drive through the field here. And you know he's on attack mode. You know he knows he has the best car and the best tires right now of the guys in front of him here. You see the 34 try to use the bottom lane here, but he's going to pass him on the outside going into turn 2.
Yeah, that's a move that we have rarely seen throughout this race. Typically, you can only pass, you get a run on the straightaway and send it in on the bottom. Mitchum makes anything possible with fresh tires as we see the cars in front of him. The 12 and the 82 side by side behind the 51. Steven Maggio is now your new leader.
And we're looking at Michael Mitchum throughout that whole pack, and we completely missed the 51 taking a race lead. Oh, 3 wide here.
He's going to make a 3 wide move at the line. Who else? Michael Mitchum's going to try to make it work on those new tires. He's going to send it clear the 12. The 82 is going to come down. Michael Mitchum's going to hold the advantage through the short chute, and he's going to clear both of them out of 2. What a move. What can this guy do?
I mean, he's really showing why he is the guy to beat here. You haven't seen people make passes on the top. You haven't seen people make the 3 wide bottom move, especially getting pinched that hard. We know the tires are good, but I don't know if it's just the tires speaking now. I mean, Michael really showing why it was so easy for him to drive through the field here. But right now they battle for that P3 spot. These two have still not been able to get away from each other. Granted, with the Michael Mitchum move, these still are 2 battling it out here for this P3 spot now. As we say that, Michael Mitchum making a move for the lead here.
Mitchum finally to the bumper of the 51. He's going to peek to the inside. Will he be able to clear him out of 2? I don't think he's going to do it. The 51's going to have the run on the high side, but he's dooring him out of 2, and he's going to clear him on the back straightaway all the way down to the grass.
He's not clear, not clear.
Not clear. Just barely not clear, and now he does going into turn 3. That was almost disaster for the 66.
And then you know that 51 isn't happy with that moving, but that's the thing is I don't know if you can be able to get back to him to repay the favor. That 66 is on fresh tires, and he's going to try to run away from these guys, but you know that 51 is not getting happy. He got used to them not once, but twice by that 66 machine.
In the 82, I don't know if this happened earlier or right now on this run, but pretty heavy nose damage on that 82 machine as we got another caution. 65 laps into this one, the Ford Ibanez around on the front straightaway.
Take a look and see what happened
caused that. It
Riley
looked like he
here.
had a couple hits on the front stretch. Wow.
It looks like you might have got some help here.
And he had some help. The 38 again. Man, you got to just keep a tally for the incidences this guy's been involved in. Just kind of come together off the corner. Ford goes way up the track using all that track, and the 38 just misjudges his callouts from the spotter. The Ford got the worst of that one.
Yeah, definitely. You see all that front end damage he got from hitting that outside wall there, and him sitting there. He's gonna try to limp that car back to pit road here, but kind of wrong place, wrong time for that Ford car. Just got tight, and unfortunately the 38 just could not check up in time to let the keep off of him. It's really hard to lift and to give the guy room when they hit the wall out of the corner like that, especially out of the turn 2 and out of turn 4. That's why you've seen the wrecks happen out of those corners, just because the cars just unload so badly, and you kind of have to use that whole track to make a decent pace here. And fortunately, you saw what that happens between the 38 and the 4 when someone makes a mistake.
Rem Brogan in that 38 is claiming fault for that wreck, apologizing to the Ford crew for ruining the car, and it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, Ibanez has already used his fast repairs, so that may be day over if he can't get that damage repaired. It's pretty heavy, at least wheel damage at a minimum, with a couple hits on the front end of that car.
Yeah, definitely a ton of damage to that machine. You just see all the fenders beat up. You see all the scratching and all the dirt and debris that got collected in that wreck there. Definitely not looking too good. Obviously, we're going to see that car down pit road here.
A number of takers in the back of the field. Michael Deitch in the 57. Kendorian Davis in the 16, and some others.
Riley take that car down the pit road here and back it up here. Obviously, that car's not going to stop very well with the damage, and we'll see if he can get out there back on the track here. Tons of damage to the front end of that machine, and we'll see. I mean, once again, we talked about it. The same thing as what we did with Michael Mitchum, right? When he got caught up in that wreck, a lot of time around this track to fix as much damage as you can and try to get that car back out there. Luckily, it looks like no front end damage from that wreck there. Just maybe some toe damage, maybe some suspension damage from hitting the walls with those front tires. But Michael Mitchum probably did not want to see that caution, because now it's going to stack him back up with some of these drivers who he kind of used them up, right, Jeff? So I'm interested to see how this 51 is going to race this 66 throughout the race here, because, I mean, that 66 gets wrecked if that 51 doesn't give him the benefit of the doubt and back out there.
Sure does, and that's not the first car that Michael Mitchum has traded paint with to get to the lead. You saw him be racing really close with the 82, moving him up out of the groove, and the 12 and some others back in the pack. So be curious to see if they continue to cut him a break, even though he does have the actually equal on tires. Or, sorry, no, he does have the tire advantage still. It'll be interesting to see. He has an 8-lap tire advantage to these guys. If they can get to his bumper, if they'll repave the favor, or if maybe they're just going to play the long game. 33 laps to go in this race. They're going to try to flip the strategy on Mitchum to see if they can get an advantage at the end. Maybe that's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, they have to try to do something. We've seen that the 66 is by far the most dominant car here. They have to try to do something to give themselves an advantage, whether that's a tire advantage, whether that's shuffling out the 66 somehow and making them have to drive through the field again. And I don't even know if that's even a good plan, because you've seen how easy it is for him to do that, to even drive back to the field. You have to do something to try to give this 66 a disadvantage here. You saw you even saw him drive to the field with damage. So something's definitely has to be done if they want a chance to take this win away from the 66 machine. See the 34 kind of lurking back there in that P5 spot. Remember, he was one of the first drivers to use that fast repair during this race when he got caught up in that wreck there. And you see him right here now, then in P5, right? So great recovery for Nicholas here in that 34 machine. Really excited to see what he can do here running up front.
And just a reminder for everybody at home, Michael Mitchum is the only car in now the top 6 that has not used the fast repair. So if any of these guys want to think about being aggressive with him and trying to take back this lead, they have to be really careful. They're walking on thin ice here because they have no safety net if something were to go wrong. And in sim racing, anything can happen. You know, you can have a lag switch, you can have a car blink out and reappear on the track. You could have really bad net code. There's a lot of things that can happen that are not risks that are present in real life, and you just got to take all that into account when you're making these moves. Although I don't know if these guys are worried about that. They're just thinking about, we want to get to the front and we want to win.
And the race over the Barney. And Michael Mitchum, once again, we're back green here at Indy.
Top 2 on the bottom, got a really good jump. The 82's going to peak below Mitchum, but he's going to power around on the outside. Not quite clear yet. The 82 is holding his own on the bottom. He's going to be there. Will he repay the favor?
Michael Mitchum, he's going to clear the 82. You see the draft from the 51, from the 66 is actually going to propel the 51 back up to the P2 spot. Now the 82 and the 51 are going to battle for that P2 spot.
The 34 further back in the pack, in 6th place, had a huge send into 3. Had to back it off. Went up the track, is now paying the price for it. He lost a couple spots there in that exchange. Now they're 3 wide further up. The 51, 82 in the meat and the sandwich, and the 12 on the bottom. 3 wide into turn 1. The 12 of Meyer is going to intelligently back out of that one. The 51, they're going to door. They're dooring in the short straight.
Oh, they're wrecking.
Just what we said was the worst case scenario for the 82 and 51. Already used a fast repair each.
Oh,
they're
and they're
still wrecking.
They're still
38. It's hooked under caution. Man, I'm at a loss for words. I can't even explain what just happened on the track.
Well, take a look at that
the
38.
82 just barely racing hard. They get together, door each other. The 51 gets loose. They both take each other out in the short shoot.
Yeah, that
51 might have some right front wheel damage, and the 82 just gets completely spun around into the wall as well. Yeah, that's significant damage for both of those machines. And then the 38 blinks back onto the track and gets taken out by the 26. The announcers jinx once again. Some of these things that only happen in the sim are starting to finally affect these drivers. Wow, I cannot believe that all of these things are happening at once.
Yeah, I mean,
just when you haven't seen it all in this race.
Yeah, you see out on the broadcast that the 38 connection issue, some sort of a mistake there. He blinks back into the sim and nowhere for. I mean, you can't expect the 26 right there to expect him to blink back in there. And around goes the 38. You know, he'd gotten all that damage fixed from all those incidences, and then, well, what? Jeff just kind of took the words out of everybody's mouth there. What have we not seen there? And you're gonna see that the one down pit road there, a lot of front end damage to that machine there. We'll go and take a closer look here. Yeah, just a bunch of front end damage to that one machine. You're gonna see Jacob Malone. We'll go back to him. Not as much, right? You still see that dimple that he's had before. But not too bad for that 82 machine here. Zachariah Cartledge Photography 82 machine.
And here we're starting to see more and more of these drivers come down pit road, whether they were involved in the wreck or they want to try to flip this strategy on Mitchum and the front runners. The 15 car of McDermott staying out with Mitchum along with a number of others. These cautions have really brought upon a mix of strategies with all these different teams, whether you have a fast repairer, which are very few people in the field at this point, or you have older tires, newer tires on a restart. Where are you on the track? If you're further back in the pack, you're going to be more inclined to get those fresh tires. You won't lose as much track position. But it's a big gamble. If you're one of the guys that's in the top 5, do you come down and take tires? Because what if it does go green to the end? What if the guys that were causing the incidents, are wrecked out of the race now, or they decide to be smart and start backing it down on these restarts? You may be the one that ends up playing the right cards and finding yourself in victory lane. But so far, Mitchum has handled everything that's been thrown at him. And even with the 82 on that last restart, staying on his inside through 1 and 2, he was able to power around on the outside, which is a disadvantageous line, and he was able to get it done.
I want to take a look
Still
at
out front.
I still want to take a look at the 12 car. Finnegan Myers, remember, he was sitting back there in the 4th place position. I don't mind this move he did, right? Went in there, took the tires early. If we do not get a caution, I could see him potentially. I mean, Mitchum has 14 laps on those Goodyear tires. He has the pace to run up there. Same thing with Zachary Trevino came down pit road as well here, running up there in the P2 spot. I could see them very easily driving up to the field here. Maybe if they can get through the traffic as soon as they can here, coming up here and driving through the field here, and maybe making a run for Michael Mitchum's money here. But we're getting ready to go green here. Once again, Michael Mitchum and now Cameron Lopes McDermott are going to lead us to green here.
Mitchum once again is going to go early in the restart zone. The 57 of Deitch does not go. That's been the problem spot, is that outside lane, the second row on the outside does not go on the restart. Stacked up the whole field behind him. Big gaggle of cars, 6th to 10th on back.
And with that gaggles, we have a wreck again back there. That looks like the 54 getting sideways. He saves it. What a save. The 54.
So some great car control there from the 54, but we are going to stay green and further up in the pack. Michael Mitchum's already out to a half-second lead with these guys battling side by side further back in the pack.
And you see,
Kendorian Davis is going to find himself in the top 5, making the move on Trevino. Kendorian has 5-lap older tires than the 22, but he made the move regardless, and the 22 is now going to return the favor. Going to try to get it done in the turn 1 with the preferred line.
Yeah, you see the 22, you see the 82 also of Malone with freshies on those tires. They're going to try to take advantage of the 16s, a little bit older tires. But I have to give a huge shout out to Peter Hopp. Remember, 2 laps down, blew his engine almost up in the air at the start of the race. Now look at him at P4, trying to make a move on Nicholas Road here.
And the 82 going all the way down the grass to make a move on the 22. Trevino, both of them getting past the 16 of Davis. Peter Hopp, what a drive. He's now going for P3 on the track and hunting down the 15 of McDermott for 2nd place. Wasn't that long ago where that guy had all 4 tires up in the air, almost on his lid on the back straightaway. One of the biggest hits that we've seen in a long time at this racetrack. And now he's battling up in the podium spots with 25 to go.
You want to talk about Cinderella stories? This is what you talk about here. I mean, we thought he was out of it. 2 laps down, got the lucky dog a couple times, and now sitting up here in the P3 spot, slowly catching your P2 driver who is on older tires. He's actually on older tires than, no, he's on older tires than Peter. So, I mean, he's on 20, 30 lap tires compared to Peter, who is on 8 lap old tires. So, you can definitely see the tire advantage starting to come here, but you see the 34 starting to back up. He's starting to back up to that 34 machine now.
The 82 with a huge run, really pinching the 34 down and makes that move done on the outside. Jacob Malone has something to say for this top 3, and he's going to go for 3rd. under Peter Hopp on the front stretch. He is absolutely flying through this field.
You saw Peter try to make a block there. 82 was not going to have any of it. He was like, you want to block me down? I'll go lower. And he's going to make that P3 spot up. You see Trevino in that P5 spot now. He's going to try to reel in this 60 machine.
Yeah, it's a game of how low can you go on the front stretch. You know, the 22 is coming back to try to take that spot back from the 60. Although now it's for 4th place. You see Michael Mitchum just loving what he sees in his mirror. He's out to almost a 2-second lead on the 15 car, but he does have a tire disadvantage. If this goes green, the 82 Malone and the 22 Trevino have the freshest tires in the field. 14 laps fresher tires than the 66 car. So keep an eye on that. If somehow, some way we do have a long run here, those guys will be the ones to watch.
You see the 82 easily get around the 15, and now it's time to go, right? You got 14 laps now to go and run down that race leader, Michael Mitchum. We know he's been the guy to beat, but guess what? He doesn't have the freshest tires in the field. You do now. You see the 22 trying to get around the 15 as we speak now. So now it's going to be a battle of, did Michael Mitchum save enough to keep the pace up to stay in front of this 82, or did Michael Mitchum get a big enough gap that he can kind of manage that now to win this race? The Trevino is still having an issue trying to get around the 15 here, so slightly holding him up. I don't think it's anything bad here, but you still see the 22 right behind the 15 here, and it elects not to make the move yet to take over that P3 spot.
Michael Mitchum's lead holding steady at 2 seconds, with everybody else's gaps from the 2/10 to the 7/10 range in the top 5 and counting. Here comes the 22 Trevino with a big run. McDermott in the 15. He's going to try to get some clean air on the nose of that Ford. Not able to get it done here, but could have a chance in the front stretch of making something happen.
See the 15, a little bit wider exit here. Might allow the 22 to do something here. No. 22 is still going to stay behind the 15 here. Just cannot get a good enough run on these straights to make that dive down the bottom here, going into 1 or 3 here. And right now, everybody kind of single filing out, trying to run their own pace here. Going 20 laps to go here. You're starting to see some of the calm that we expected throughout the whole race to start happening, you know, with 20 to go. Michael Mitchum getting around the lap car. That's Riley Ibanez there in the 4 car. We saw with the damage he got from the help of the 38. And gonna get in the wall again. Huge hit, but Mitchum able to get around him here. And Jacob Malone has not really been able to close the gap here to the race leader.
Yeah, the top 2 have pulled away, but Malone is not gaining much ground on Mitchum. The gap's still staying at around 2 seconds. And then from Malone, it's 2 seconds back to that 3rd place car, now Zachary Trevino.
Yeah, I think we saw the 15. He must have blinked out or something. No, he's gone down pit road here.
Yeah, the 15 was struggling. He was on older tires. May have an issue with the car, or just looks like he's taking service. Knew that strategy call probably would not work out with how this run ended up happening. That seems to be going longer than the average run of this race. 34 coming down to take service as well.
Well, I'm almost starting to think you see 2 cars that were running in the top 5 coming down at the same time. Is this maybe a fuel thing? Do they not have enough fuel to make it to the end here? See Mitchum right there. Gonna lap the 15, and he's gonna be in contention of lapping the 34 here. Will probably easily get around here. 34 is gonna have fresher tires though. He's gonna fight to stay on the lead lap here. Now this is exactly what Mitchum doesn't want to see though, right? You have these guys that are on fresh tires that have to get their lap back, and they're gonna have to go through Mitchum to get it. That's only going to slow him down even more. So that's something that's exactly what Mitchum does not want to see coming with 20 to go here.
At 23 lap older tires pitted on the track. And I just don't know if there's any way that, barring a caution, anybody's going to be able to catch Mitchum. I just don't know. We were thinking that those guys that had pitted and had pretty fresh tires on the previous restart were going to have a shot if they could at least keep things close. But barring a caution or barring, some lap traffic shenanigans, I don't see any of that happening. And Mitchum is going to keep, staying in clean air, managing his tires, and keeping the car underneath him. And he's seems to be setting sail right now. It only took 82 laps, but this is what his plan was for the entirety of this one.
Yeah, I mean, you see Malone even running slower than Mitchum now with the older tires. We saw him run almost a whole second by, like almost a goal 6-7 tenths behind a lap or two ago. So I don't know if he maybe made a mistake on the wall there. But Mitchum, even with 25 lap old tires, well, 15 lap older tires, still being able to pull away from your P2 and P3 drivers of Malone and Helms here. Helms got around Zachary Trevino here, and now there's a battle for the P4 spot starting the battle up here.
You said it, Michael Mitchum is on 10 lap older tires than the next oldest tires in the field. So his strategy from the beginning, we knew it, was track position is king. And if I can just be up there in clean air and be able to dictate my race, control my own destiny, that's what I want to do. And he has shown that to perfection so far. You can see the 12 of Myers and the 22 of Trevino battling for the 4th spot here. Closest battle on the track currently. Those two Fords seem to be gridlocked right now. Neither of them can get a run. It looks like the 22 is going to just squeak out ahead off of 2. But the 12 is right there, side drafted and back into 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we haven't really got to really acknowledge and show off today, is how crucial the side draft, especially in these Cup cars, are. You're gonna see the 22 get a better run off the corner here, but you're gonna see that the 12 just get up there, get that right front ride on the quarter panel. Is actually gonna suck him back to him. He's not slowing him down or anything. He's just, taking the air off the car, which and that does slow him down here. They're going to see them still side by side going into turn 1.
Yeah, the mechanism of the side draft is an interesting one. It's not really we say side draft because everything in stock car racing has to have a, cool, simple term that people can kind of understand that describes it pretty well. But really what they're doing is by getting the car on the quarter panels, you can see finally the 22 clears the 12 there. The 60 lurking behind both of them after they were held up. All that you're doing is you're taking that clean air that's going over the spoiler, and you're putting more turbulent air that's coming across your hood, and you're dumping it onto the side drafted car's spoiler. So what that's doing is it's not really giving you a speed boost as much as it is dumping more turbulent air on their spoiler, giving them less downforce and more drag, which will, in effect, make the car looser and suck them or side draft them back to you. So with these Gen 7 cars, it's not as powerful as it was in previous generations of stock cars, but it definitely is a big factor still with how aero-dependent these cars are, especially at a speedway straightaways as long as Indy. We've already seen people use that to their advantage right now in this race.
And you're going to see he's going to get a run here. Try to go on the nose cam here to see if we can show you guys exactly what we're talking about. If you can get back up to the 22 machine.
The other key component with the air is the dirty air. We talked about it. You hear anybody that talks about these next-gen cars will always talk about the dirty air and how important managing that is. The dirty air, again, is just turbulent air. What you want to have is clean air on all parts of your car so that you can have the biggest effect of the downforce of the aero parts, and you can use that drag that you have that's inherent to the car effectively. The problem is when you go up close following somebody like the 12 is right now, or the 22, when you follow somebody that close, the clean air turns into turbulent air. So he comes out of the turbulence, right? He'd get clean air going into turn 3. So now he has the full effect of the downforce and the aerodynamic effects of his car, the splitter and the diffuser and all that has his car. He's able to make the pass because as opposed to riding in line behind him and getting the turbulent air on his aero parts, the clean air is what actually provides him the maximum downforce that's offered with the aero components on the car. Long story short, clean air good, following dirty air, turbulent air bad. And that's what these guys are trying to manage. And it can be just as much as sneaking a fender out of the draft of the car in front of you. If you just get, it can even be a quarter car width. If you just get one tire out of the wake of the car in front of you, that can give you an advantage in the corner. See a big block to the inside by the 2. He is really defending that 3rd place spot. And he pays the price for it, goes way up the track. Both these cars on equal tires, but it looks like the 2 of Bobby Helms just used up his stuff trying to defend right there. And the 12 of Myers back up to the podium spots.
Yeah, Bobby's handling is definitely falling off throughout the run here now, and you're going to start to see him maybe fall back a little bit here. So you're going to see the 2 try to just manage the pace here and try to fix what he can to keep the spot it is, right? He drove his way up to the P3 spot, now sitting in P4. We know Zach is running about the same decent pace as the 12 was. We'll see if he can come and run down your Bobby here, but with only coming to 11 to go here, still a lot of time. But as I say that, you see Kendorian Davis starting to run down this 22. You see that the 16, he's down pit road here, and I'm getting told by outsider sources that yes, this will be a field mileage race. Bobby Helms and Trevino both trying to save fuel here to make it to the end here.
Oh, we have a huge development right now. The leader, Michael Mitchum, is coming down pit road to top off on fuel. Wow, this was completely unexpected. We had no idea that with the way these cautions fell that it would come down to fuel mileage. And that was the reason why Mitchum was trying to fly away from the field, was he wanted to put as much of a gap as possible so that he wouldn't have to save gas, and he would just take a little top off at the end. But that's going to drop him all the way down to the 7th position, hitting with the 16 Kendorian Davis. And he will be now 35 seconds back from the leader, 82 Malone. What a turn of events here. I cannot believe that this is how this is going to happen.
I have to think now, can Malone make it on fuel? Can Myers make it on fuel? But we were told that Helms and Trevino are trying to save fuel so they don't have to pit. So was that a bad call for Mitchum to run hard and then have to pit here versus some of these other guys who are trying to make it the rest of the way? They're coming with 10 to go.
It's going to be tough. Going to be tough, even with a caution for those guys like Mitchum to be able to make up that much time and that much track position. If there is a caution that bunches them back up, the leader is going to be able to make it. They're going to top off. Does Mitchum stay out there? He'll be at a tire disadvantage. There's a lot of interesting things that will happen whether we get a caution or not. But it looks like Trevino and Bobby Helms are right on their fuel numbers and will try to stretch this to the end. We'll have 9 laps to find out if they can do it.
One thing I want to mention is you have the 15 behind the 82. I'd be interested to see if the 82 will let the 15 go and kind of use this guy as a draft partner. Right now, I don't know if that's what... Right now, the 15 has not gotten back up to the 82, but that's something I would definitely put into my bingo card is let's try to get a car in front of me so I don't have to push as hard down the straights. I can maybe go, you know, even if it's a little crack a throttle, it does help every little bit.
I think if the 82 thought there was any chance of him being able to make it on fuel, he would have tried to implement a strategy like that already, or he would have thought twice about it. I think now his bed is made. He's just trying to run it out as long as he can, and if he has to the other guys, but right now he's just hoping for a caution before the end of this race.
Now we're interested. Oh, as we see the 2 and the 22 make contact back here. Coming at a turn 2 here, you're going to see the 22 make a move. Finally get around Bobby Holmes here. But we know these two are saving fuel to make it to the end here, potentially. So that's the last thing they want to do, is try to get into each other and make it harder for them to save fuel. But you're going to see the 22 get around here, and he's going to take over that P2 spot. I mean, P3 spot. You still see the 12, who does have a little bit of draft from the 57, I think that is, of Michael Deitch ahead of him. That will definitely help a lot. That is the 57. That, if he's trying to fuel save, that's going to definitely help if he can just sit back there and kind of sit back there and run half throttle, 3/4 throttle to try to save some fuel here. Yeah, make a move on the 57 here, so probably not what he wants to do, actually. So I'll eat my words on that. You're going to see Michael let the 12 car by.
And look who that puts behind the 57, the 22 of Trevino and the 2 of Bobby Helms, the 2 cars that are trying their hardest to stay on that fuel number and make it to the end. They're going to have a little bit of extra help with this lap car draft off of the last 5 laps of the race. Will they be able to make it?
We do understand the connection issues here, so we are going to try to do our best to describe what the race is. Kind of radio style here for HVTV. Fortunately, the race server is not cooperating with us, but yeah, right now, 6 to go here, and you're going to see actually Finnegan Myers start to actually get caught by the 22 here, as he's using Michael Deitch as a draft partner here. See the 22 catch up to Trevino, and you have to think maybe Finnegan didn't. I might have to save more than the 22. I think the 22 realized that he had to save and saved a lot earlier, started saving a lot earlier than some of these other guys. And now we can start to push just a little bit more than some of these guys like Finnegan. Did you see him start to reel this 12 in?
That's exactly the reason. I think some of these guys up front, like Malone and Myers, that were just trying to get the track position at the start of this run, they weren't thinking about fuel at all. They were thinking, I want to go and try to get in clean air and get as close to the lead as I can. And then all of a sudden, halfway through the run, oh man, I need a caution, or some of these guys are going to be able to make it on fuel and I won't. So maybe their bed's already made. Maybe they think they can make it still. The top 4 all pitted on the same lap, so it is possible for them to all make it, but Torino and Helms will be the best on fuel so far, according to our intel from the team radios.
Yeah, going in cockpit with Myers here, you heard him. He was clutching in the corner, so he's definitely trying to save fuel here. See him go up in the 5th here. He was turning off the car there. Maybe he just lost that too much time to negate doing that again, but you saw on the gearbox cam that he was turning the car off. But here comes Trevino. He's at the back end of this 12 machine.
Yeah, as we said, he saved earlier in the run to stay on that fuel number, and now Myers is feeling the heat. He knows that he has to save if he wants to make it, and he is probably really struggling to hit that fuel number right now. Trevino, with that extra pressure lifted off of him by saving earlier in the run, is going to have a good shot at getting the spot here. Coming to 3 laps to go this time.
You have to look at Jacob Maloney. We're going to continue to ride on board with Zach Trevino. This is your closest battle on track here. You have to think, can he make it? But also you have to think about, he has a 6-second lead here, so if he runs out, he might be able just to limp it around and maybe still be able to win this race here. But and now you still see Trevino trying to pressure this 12 machine the best he can now. I've been told from inside sources Trevino is good, and he's going to push. He's going to try to get the 2nd place spot here.
Trevino is good on fuel, but can the top two make it? That is the question. Coming to 2 laps to go. The 82 of Malone is staying out on the racetrack. He is in turn 4 now. Will he stay on the racetrack this time? He will.
2 to go here. Does Malone have enough? Does Myers have enough to make it? Right? Michael Mitchum, 18 seconds back in that 6th place spot right here. And the 5th place spot here will be out of contention to race for this win here. Surprisingly enough. Now Michael led 58, almost half of this race. And because of fuel strategy, he will not win this race. That is something you have to talk about. And that is a huge talking point here when we talk about the end of this race here.
And remember, this is not over for anybody in the top 4. We've already seen in the past Jimmy Johnson in 2009 Michigan run out of gas on the last lap coming to the white, and then Greg Biffle taking the lead and him running out of gas in the backstretch. This is not over. If anybody runs out of gas, any one of these guys could bring it home. The 82 of Malone's going to take the white flag. He is going to stay out and try to win this race. He is taking the white flag. He's going to try to stretch this out to the end here. Final lap for these guys. The 12 of Myers. Trevino's going to try to get the pass done. Right on the back bumper of the 12 and 1.
Trevino's going to get up into the wall here. He's got a lap car in front here who might... He's going to get out of the way here. Very classy by the 15 machine of Cameron to get out of the way there. But coming out of 3 and 4 here, coming to the line actually. Malone's going to win.
Out.
The 82 is out.
He's sputtering or he's off the pace. He got into the wall in 3 and 4. Can he make it to the line? I think he's going to do it. The 82 of Jacob Malone is going to make the fuel save work and win at Indianapolis. Unbelievable. Unbelievable to make that fuel save work. Nobody thought they would have anything for Michael Mitchum, but he was able to stretch the fuel. And what a way to bring home this win. Unbelievable. Finnegan Myers holds on for 2nd place. Trevino, the massive fuel save starting from the beginning of this final run, got him up to 3rd. Bobby Helms makes it to the end in 4th, and Michael Mitchum, after leading 55 laps over half the race, is going to be kicking himself in the garage, settling for just 5th place after topping off with 10 laps to go in the race.
And you have to remember, this is Zachariah Cartledge's car. Jacob Malone was a spare, and I've been told we unfortunately couldn't watch we couldn't broadcast the Richmond broadcast. Zachariah Cartledge had Michael Mitchum in his car at Richmond, and Michael Mitchum won that race. So now this is the 2nd win in a row for Zachariah Cartledge. So that is huge for that 82 car's points for the race here.
What a story, man. Zachariah Cartledge gets a substitute driver in his 82 car, and he stretches the fuel to win at Indianapolis against another substitute driver, arguably one of the best Gen 7 racers in the service. He's going to park it on the yard of bricks and have one of the sweetest wins of his career to celebrate. There are going to be a lot of guys coming home in this one not happy with one or many cars and left wondering, where do we go from here? There are situations in the points or how they're going to improve the racing for next time, because there are so many incidents that were just due to unnecessary aggression on restarts. And like we were saying before, you can get away with that at certain other tracks, but Indy, in many ways, with how it funnels out, it can drive very much like a short track. I mean, you have these long straightaways, but when it funnels out into one groove, everybody's fighting for that bottom lane. It really is a aggressive, beating and banging type of finish, or really entire race. But we didn't see any, crazy green, white, checkered fireworks that we're used to seeing from some of these other guys, some of these other finishes. But nonetheless, what a compelling race, compelling victory, and I'd love to see how they got it done.
No, I definitely would. We're still waiting on our top three to get into the waiting room to talk to them at the end of the race, but we'll go ahead and go through your race rundown here. Jacob Malone, obviously, we saw saved enough fuel, got the win here. Finnegan Myers, P2, we saw him hold on to that P2 spot over your third place driver, Zachary Trevino. Bobby Helms in that P4 spot. Michael Mitchum recovers to P5. You know, obviously not what he wanted to do there, but also a great day for Xander McKinney in that 66 machine. Hasn't had the best luck this season, so a great run for McKinney there in the 66. Brendan Larson in the 26. Nicholas Rode in the 34. It's going to come home P7. P8 is going to be Kentorian Davis with Peter Hopp in the 9th place position. Brogan Whitworth, a decent recovery for him. Going to go on in the top 10. And in 11th is going to be Michael Deitch in that number 57 machine.
And rounding out your field here, Jackson Brown, involved in a number of incidents earlier in the race, going to finish one lap down in the 12th spot. Cameron McDermott made that late call to stay out on old tires, and it did not end up working out for him. He finished a lap down in 13th. And Chad Tabala started 20th, almost in the dead last in the pack. Drove his way up, was the biggest mover for a lot of the race, and ended up having to settle for a 14th place position, the last car running on the track. This was just such an up and down day for a lot of these guys. And I mean, what can you even say about it? A lot of it was not due to any of their own doing. And that's just the kind of racing that this track produces, with how aggressive everybody feels like they have to be on these restarts to gain ground.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, you think about it, what happened throughout the race. We literally had a little bit of everything. We had that long green flag run at the end. We had the calamity cautions. We had a guy hit the pit wall. We had everything happen this race, but that's something we'll have to discuss post interviews here. But right now we do have Finnegan Myers, our only driver that's doing interviews up in the VC. Let's go ahead and talk to him. We can get him down here.
And in the meantime, just another reason with how aggressive this race was, and how there's calamity seemingly at every corner. We have 7 cars that did not finish the race, and all of them used their fast repair and just caught up in too many incidents. Whether it was just a spin, none of their own doing, or a big wreck. There was almost nobody that came out of this unscathed. And if you were lucky enough to save your fast repair for the end, I mean, 4 of the 6 drivers that did not have to use their fast repair finished in the top 6. So that's all you need to know right there. If you just, even if you know that you don't have the fastest car, if you can just stay in the race with how long these races are, you have a shot at getting a great finish for your team. And that's exactly what those guys did.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree. You had to use that stuff up early. If you used up your stuff early, you saw that there was a potential that you weren't going to make it through the race here. We're going to try to do this race rundown here. We're trying to implement this new feature into the HVTV section. So let's see if we can do this. Maybe not. Because here's our second caution of the race here between I honestly I don't remember who was involved in these, but we'll just this was between this was the first wreck of the race, the 16 losing it here. That was your first caution for tonight's race, and the 16 went around there. This was the start And this was between Maxwell and that number 36, if you remember, guys, right? Gets down here into the 26, makes a mistake here, and he's going to go for a off the wall here, and he's going to take out the 60 here. That happened on lap 6 here on the restart. We're going to go back to that. You remember Peter Hawk, we talked about him. Huge slide at the start of the race here. He's going to go around here. Huge slide between it. This was with the involving the 18 car. Getting up into the wall here, and he's going to take a huge slide here. Up and over, and he's going to KO the outside wall here, the inside wall here.
What a hit. And he came back from that and was running in the top 5 for a long time in the second half of this race, and unfortunately has to settle for a 9th place finish after it's all said and done. But that just, again, more and more proof of how much of a roller coaster race this was for so many of these drivers, up and down and up again in the field.
See Jackson Brown getting a shove here from the 26, and you saw that huge overcorrect and huge hit into the outside wall. You see him make a good recovery as well. A decent recovery back. Rex Rowe once again involved. We're going to see a little bit of Rex here for a little bit. You're going to see him getting to the outside wall here. And come down, hook himself off the 12. Rear end first into the inside wall, and around he goes here. You're going to see the 12 once again here. Get involved with the 15. Remember, this is the hit of the race here. You see him get into the 15 here. And here he goes. Oh man, what a hit. What a shot for the 14 there. Lap 50.
Rex Rowe was one of the many drivers that just could not catch a break in this race. Like every restart he got involved with some capacity in the wreck, and that one was the worst of them.
Steven Maggio on lap 50. Three wide move here. Underneath with the 92 here, your race winner. You're gonna see them get tangled up here, saving it, and then unfortunately the 82 getting the 12 involved in here. But still, what a save by those two at the start, and surprisingly, one of those two involved in the wreck, won your race here. So to the 18. Trying to squeeze it 3 wide here, and he's going to hook himself here. And end his race here on that number 18 machine. You see the 4 getting some help by the 38. He's going to go around here. You saw Steven in the 82 once again getting involved in it. And once again, I mean, going back and looking at these results, it's even more impressive that Jacob Malone came back to win this race after everything he went through towards the latter half. You saw the 38. We're gonna go and look at that once here. See the 38 blink, come back up and get hooked here. I mean, that's what a turn of events, Jeff. I mean, everything kind of happened throughout this race here, and now. You have to think about stuff. Is now we have Gavin Austin in booth. We have to give a huge shout out to Gavin real quick. He was our trackside reporter here for the evening. He was the one who gave us that information that some people were good on field, some people weren't. So Gavin Austin in the booth here. So
I did one quick question. For interviews, do you need help dragging people? Because I don't know.
We do need help. Yes, we do.
Third place driver, who is that?
We had
The It's Zachary Trevino in the booth
Uh,
right now, which it doesn't look like he was there, but we may have
uh,
lost him.
no, I can bring him.
Let's take a look.
I could bring him. Uh, there.
Well, we have
Oh, wait. My bad. Hold
that's
on.
Xander McKinney, but that is not Zachary Trevino.
Hello.
Oh, and then goodbye to Xander McKinney.
There he is.
All right, Zachary Trevino. It's Jeff and Christian up in the HVTV booth. Got a copy.
Yep, I got you.
Well, a very eventful race to say the least here, but you were there battling with the 12 at the end there, trying to get that P2 spot away from him. But walk us through race and walk us through really that last green flag run that you guys had to do there.
I mean, yeah, all races just been caution. It hasn't been the greatest race. It's definitely worse than last week, Richmond. But yeah, I tried to get into Finnegan there on the last lap, give him the bumper, but I didn't have it in me. But yeah, we came with the new team to Indy and got a P3, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean,
Zachary, I gotta ask you, man, what was your mindset when all those cautions were happening at the start of the race? Were you thinking, hey, I want to be aggressive and try to take what I can on these restarts? Did you think more cautions were going to be coming out? Do you think that we'd ever get a long run like the one that we did at the end when, the quickest guys like Michael Mitchum would have to pit? And I mean, you started saving fuel early enough. So what were you thinking when all those cautions were happening early on?
I thought we'd get a couple of green flag runs in, but we didn't get much. So I just try to save as much fuel as I can. Towards the end of the race, I had to go in a hardcore saving mode there at the end. Then Michael Mitchum had to pit, so that was perfect for us. And pretty much, yeah, I just had to save a lot of fuel.
Yeah, that was a great strategy indeed. Christian, you got anything else?
No, I mean, you definitely did a great job. We got some news up in the booth that you guys were trying to save fuel here. We actually had no idea that fuel saving was even a thing we're going to talk about here tonight at Indy. But anybody you want to shout out, thank, or any friends or family watching at home to shout out here?
Yeah, I want to thank all my teammates. I want to thank Hector. I want to Bobby Helms and everyone who helped me this race. And yeah, that's about it.
Well, definitely a great finish for you here, and yeah, hopefully we can come back and talk to you potentially in victory lane next week.
Yep, thank you.
That was Zachary Trevino, your third place driver here, and I have seemed to lost my timing and scoring here, but Finnegan Myers, it's Christian and Jeff up in the HVTV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Got a copy.
Well, you and that 22 duking it out for the win there. Really putting on a show for the fans at home at the end there. But once again, didn't really know that fuel strategy was really a thing we wanted to talk about. But walk us through your race and walk us through especially that last green flag run.
Yeah, we had a really good car. We qualified front row, so I knew we were going to be fast. Ran top 5, I think, the full first half before getting involved in the wreck. Fixed up the car. We're a little tight after that. Beginning was kind of embarrassing. I mean, we wrecked so much in the back. Caution. We didn't get to race. I don't know what happened up front between the 92 and the 1. That was interesting. I mean, the 92 was blocking guys in the grass. It was cutting people off, and I was getting annoyed as well. So if the 1 wasn't going to do it, I mean, I probably would have. But yeah, I didn't. I thought there was going to be a lot more cautions. As soon as my fuel window was pretty close, I think 32 laps I came down in pit. You run 28 green, and we actually went green. Restarted in the back, saved a bunch of fuel. The 22 and we raced so clean. I owe Trevino a thanks. He raced me so well. But yeah, we had a really good run, and it was awesome to put our Edmunds Motorsports Ford Mustang on a podium.
Finnegan, how did you deal with all those cautions early on? I know that you said you were getting frustrated with guys, not just being aggressive on the restarts, but being aggressive and making blocks. But we saw some great racing out of you and the 22 and the 82 and the rest of the guys that were running up front. So how did you feel that the racing product was despite the amount of cautions we had at the start?
I think it was good. It was hard to pass. Dirty air in these cars is rough. You get pretty tight arrow tight when you get right behind them. Cautions were just frustrating. My car got better the longer we went on, and we just never got a chance to show it till the very, very end. That point was a little too late. It was frustrating. We need to clean it up in the back, especially. There's just too many cautions on that first half. It got better at the end, but we need to make that the whole race, and we'll have a way better product for people to watch, for the drivers to race, and it'll just be better overall.
Yeah, I agree. The potential's there. There's always room for improvement, though. But congratulations on your P2 finish. Do you have any sponsors, family shout outs to thank?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to Battleborn Race Clothing, Edmonds Motorsports, 213 Simware. And I got to thank my dad, actually. We worked so hard this week to get our Wi-Fi and all the connection working so we could have a race like this. And his work paid off. We finished off the deal tonight. So, yeah, thank you for him for sure. We worked hard this week for this one.
That's awesome. Dad's the MVP. All right, Finnegan Myers, your second place finisher tonight, Indy.
Have a good night.
And lastly, we'll talk to your race winner here of Jacob Malone in the number 82 machine. Hey, Jacob, is Christian and Jeff up in the HVTV booth? You got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, you seemed like a top 2, top 3, top 1 driver. And, you were up there running up towards the front throughout the whole race there. Walk us through that race. Walk us through that last green flag run and walk us through. I mean, none of us up in the booth even had a recollection that fuel was going to be even a thing to talk about.
Well, that final run, I started last on the restart, and I just got by everyone pretty quickly. Passed everyone, for clean and shit. But people want to complain. I don't understand why, because Chad wrecked himself and it slowed down Finnegan. So Finnegan said, whatever. Anyways, not me getting pissed off about that. But I just want to say, yeah, so I just kind of just drove by everyone because people were just slow. And then once I got by everyone, I was primarily in fifth, just saving that 0.5 of fuel I needed to just make it to the end. I mean, people who didn't pit there, it was just kind of dumb not to. Fresher tires, it's just you could just save like only like half a lap and you're fine. And so that's what I did. I came out and won because Mike didn't pit originally. If that didn't happen, then it would have been a really good battle between me and Mike, or he would have just dominated. I don't know. It was tiring. Last lap, I just slammed the wall because I missed the corner. Don't know why. There's not much to go over. It was pretty quiet during the race.
Yeah, it seems like everybody had their heads down there and wanted to do that. But I mean, what was going through your head when you saw Mitchum having to come down pit road there? And like, did you know that he was not going to be eligible to make it the rest of the way on fuel?
Yeah, I already knew. Me and him were on a call together, so I kind of just caught the idea. Along with him not pitting, I was like, he's gonna have to pit. And so it was just, in reality, it was me leading the second I got to second. I was like, okay, so I'm good for the rest of the way. And that gave me a 6-second gap on the car in second, which allowed me to just hit the wall in the last lap. But I think I drove a good race. I was able to put down some good lap times, just kind of drive away. Yeah, that's about it.
How did you feel that the racing product was overall? I know we had a lot of cautions, and everybody is coming away from this race with kind of mixed feelings. There are a lot of people that are having words for one another, different drivers on the track. So, how did you feel it was for you, and how are you going to take this momentum for this car into the next race for you guys?
I feel like the racing product would have been better if people used their brains, of course, the wrecking and stuff. But a big issue I had was basically the side draft. It's so powerful, and so I was making dumb blocks. I'll admit that. So I would kind of just, especially after a while, when I kept getting side drafted, even though I was faster, and we were just gonna keep losing time on the guys ahead of us. So it was just hurting us in the end, and it was hurting our tires. So it was kind of pointless to do that. So eventually I started chopping some people here and there, or if it was just a dumb move while I'm already too wide with someone, I don't want to go into turn three wide, and then someone miss the corner and just door us up the track and cause a wreck, right? So that was another issue that happened that race, and I will admit I got a little bit frustrated and retaliated, but then it was over, and then I ended up getting right hooked by the same guy later on purpose. So I don't get it. Racing product would have been better if just people used their brains. Because overall, Indy is a great track, along with the next gen car isn't that bad. It's definitely overhated. And for instance, like we saw the whole race with Bobby complaining every lap about how horrible the next gen car is and how bad everyone is. I mean, it's what happens.
Well, Jacob, despite all that, you hung in there, you put yourself in position, and you got it done tonight. You got any sponsors, family, friends, shout outs to thank for this win?
No, I came out here with 7 minutes before practice even started, not even knowing I was going to race. I kind of just got asked to sub, and I was like, all right, sure, I'm free. It's Indy. So
And
it was here.
that is a detail that was not talked about enough. You come in right before the race started and sub in and pull off the win anyway. So incredible drive. Congratulations on the win, Jacob. And have a great rest of your night, man. You're in this one.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Um,
There you have it, folks. Your top three. Jacob Malone taking home the win in the 82 car. Finnegan Myers in the 12 and second, and Zachary Trevino third in the 22. Well, Christian, we saw a little bit of everything, but the one constant was aggression and everybody pushing all out the whole way. So, what do we have to take away from this race going into the next one?
Yeah, I mean, next week, Daytona Road, so a very uncommon road course. I mean, we know it was on the NASCAR schedule, and what was it, 2020 there, where Christopher Bell won in the Gen 6 car, but not a common road course that you see on a lot of, especially Gen 7 schedules. So it's going to be interesting to see um, how those drivers adapt to it. Obviously, Daytona Road, also one of the more historic racetracks that are known around the world, with the Rolex 24, along with IMSA and a bunch of other series going there, you know, Miatas and everything else. Not known on the NASCAR schedule as much anymore, but yeah, it's going to be very exciting to see what those drivers can do on Daytona. We'll see, but yeah, definitely a lot of calamity, a lot of just everything really kind of happened throughout the race here. We had some really good racing for the lead. We had some big wrecks. We had some someone going to the tire barrier, as we talked about earlier. This race, we just had a little bit of everything, and it felt like a good way to. We had fuel strategy. I mean, we literally had everything tonight, Jeff.
Yeah, we had so much to see, and despite a lot of mixed feelings coming out of this, uh, tempers and exciting racing for the lead and fuel strategy and all the rest. Um, this was one heck of a show, at least for the fans, if nothing else. So, thank you to this league for the opportunity, Universal Cup Series. This is my first time broadcasting with you guys, so we really appreciate the opportunity to put on the show for everybody at home. And for everybody here at HVTV, Christian Delgado, Gavin Austin, I'm Jeff Perchatsky. We're saying so long from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And thank you to all our partners. This has been a High Velocity TV production. And we hope to see you back here again very soon. Good night, everybody.